Oh, what a day. Hey, hey everybody, this is Perch. Joe and I are greeting back Pat Shand. How are you doing, Pat?
I'm well. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
Doing all right.
Joe
Beautiful.
had something to drink in his hand a second ago.
I did. It's just some more bourbon. Why not? I spiked my coffee earlier, but
Perfect.
got to keep the ride going. Friday.
That's what it's all about. It's been a long week, Pat. We interviewed you a bit ago, and it was just such a fun time. I'm really glad you came back and are chatting with us again today.
Yeah, it was cool, and I didn't get fucking railed too hard by the comments too. You know, it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. That's nice. Yeah,
pretty good.
Poor Jim's up. Yes.
Yes. Man. And he came back. That's going to be up soon, and those comments are going to be probably even worse, and maybe they'll come at all of us for having him again. It's going to be a good time.
Wait, who was that?
No, we have Jim's up back again soon.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a discussion. We have, I think, Kari Andrews came back. That one will go up tomorrow. We have Eric Luke in a couple days that will go up, and well, good. Like an idiot, I just didn't edit the right things. Even though the video says at one point, let's cut this part out because that's always it's a class operation that we do here.
It is, but Eric Luke's amazing. That was a really fun one. Worked on gargoyles. Come on, who doesn't love gargoyles?
Exactly.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Classic
but so Pat, we let me do this here real quick. Joe here is drinking some bourbon here. I'm drinking. I've got vodka and soda, which is a weird thing. Are you drinking anything tonight? Or are you just?
I'm tempted to do a White Claw Gabe bit. Have you guys seen that guy White Claw Gabe?
I don't think I have.
No.
Funny. He's trending on TikTok for all these videos he makes, and he's like, "It's Friday, baby, fuck yeah," But and he's always drinking a White Claw. But I am actually not drinking. I'm drinking Poland Spring.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. You're the designated driver tonight.
That's what it means to be from Maine.
Did you guys know that there's no in California they don't have Poland Spring?
Yeah. Okay.
It's messed up. It's messed up. I went there. I was looking for my water of choice. They have something called deer something. Not for me, dude.
Deer water. I think it's just called deer water.
I stick to my brands very, very hard, and Poland Spring is the brand that I choose to destroy the environment, and I'm sticking with it, dude.
Perfect.
Good. That is good. I only went to California once in my life, and it rained all 5 days I was there.
That's uncommon, huh?
It is. I'm like, of course, this is what happens when I come there. But it was great because I got to go bar hopping with Cena Grace, and there was weed poppers and the Golden Girls involved. So
hey, Cena is super cool. That's someone in comics who, I've always felt very warmly greeted by. And also one thing about Cena, Cena is the only person I've ever worked with in comics who has given me the original art for the piece I hired him to draw for free. I just showed up. It was FlameCon, and he said, "Come to my booth when you get a chance," and I did. And he just handed me these 2 pieces of art that he put together to make a Destiny New York print, and I couldn't believe it. It was a very nice gesture.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Destiny New York's coming out currently through Black Mask.
Yeah, we got that happening monthly. Destiny New York comes out the next issue. It's so funny. I was on the phone with Matt yesterday, and I did this gesture to symbolize phone. If you guys didn't know what phone means anymore, And
texting with voice. Yeah.
I asked Matt if we had a date for the next issue, and he said yes, and I forgot to ask when. He probably should have packed the when into the yes, but he just said yes. So I don't know when it comes out, but we are doing monthly, so we should expect issue number 4 at some time this month.
That's great.
I think it's next week.
Hey, that'll be dope. That'll be very nice. Yeah.
I think we're about to see. Oh, this is awesome. We can break some news about a release to the creator.
There we go. Yeah, we have single issues coming out from Black Mask, and then I have the Kickstarter for Volume 5, which continues the graphic novels launching on Tuesday. So for those who don't follow, the single issues are serializing and reprinting what we already did with the graphic novels. So right now it's doing the first arc. And then as that goes on, my company Space Between is going to continue putting out the trades, which are coming out through Kickstarter. And that arc is going to be volume 5 starting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So you guys, everyone watching, be there, support me. It's going to be a version of the comic that won't be in stores, different cover, exclusive versions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Very nice. Awesome. Yeah, we want to hear. I have some pictures up there, but I'd love to hear more about the premise of the book for people who haven't heard it and all the rest. I did want to throw two things. First of all, people are rightfully mocking me for having vodka. You're right. I hate vodka, and I have this obsession of getting rid of the bottles in my cabinet. So I'm literally drinking it to get rid of it, which is a terrible plan. I know, but that's what I'm doing.
I mean, I have some nostalgia for vodka just because as a kid, that's like the go-to get drunk as a kid beverage,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is. And it's, that's, I don't know. I moved on to whiskey. And the next step, death. That's the plan for me. So,
I mean, whiskey as an adult tastes great, but as a kid, you just don't have the constitution for it,
Yeah, for sure.
But dude, I remember I would go into my parents' cabinet and just slowly chip away at what was in there, put a little water in there. Now it's fully Poland Spring, just to bring it back. Their vodka is fully Poland Spring. But yeah, I enjoyed vodka as a kid for sure.
Nice. Vodka is also a drink. I had some beer earlier, so this is you can migrate onto vodka and not mess your system up. Or it's going to be a hilarious second hour here tonight. So
that's great. I don't know how Bailey's Irish Cream and bourbon go, because that's what I had earlier. Now I'm on bourbon, so we'll see.
Half the people who show up to these chats just want to see the inevitable succumbing to alcohol poisoning that is coming here. But
one day. But yeah, no, it's great. And
but the other thing you mentioned, so Cena Grace, what strikes me is that people seem to have forgotten that he was the editor based on Walking Dead and Invincible.
Yeah.
They like it for many people. They remember him as he started his career with Iceman, and that seems like a bit of a shame.
Oh yeah, no, that's there was a nice in between period too, where he was he was the Skybound editor, but between that and his Marvel stuff, there's some great indie stuff. I remember he drew Little Depressed Boy.
Yes.
I think he drew and maybe even co-wrote Burn the Orphanage. Good stuff. But dude, my favorite one though, is Penny Dora. I'm not sure if you guys have read that one, but it's
I haven't. That one I don't know.
Good. It's a good one. It's an image book. It was for kids, and they put the trade out as this little shorter trade, but it came out in single issues, and it was just a very fun, kind of heartwarming fantasy story. And it ended in a place where, you thought it was going to keep going. But I think that something that I've learned too is that it's hard to find an audience for comics for kids through the traditional means. Image publishing a kids comic is a hard sell. Whereas like Scholastic doing it, they're just going to go straight to trade, put it out in the bookstore. But a company like Image, just for a kid's book to survive on single issues, it's hard. It's hard, dude.
Very, very hard. It's well, Pat, I wanted so hopefully people have checked out your interview, but tell us. So I know we have new people in the chat, new people coming all the time. Tell us a little bit. What are the big things you've done?
Big things I've done. All right. So Destiny New York, I've been kickstarting that for 5 years now. This is our 5th year anniversary. For freelance work, titles that you might be more familiar with, I am a Marvel novelist. I've written 5 Marvel novels. I have done work on the comic book version of Charmed. Zenescope continued the Charmed series, and I wrote season 10 for that. And I've done a lot of work for Zenescope. I did the Van Helsing series, which is that's what the sci-fi show is based on. Robin Hood for about 40 issues. What else? Some stuff for Avatar. I wrote Cross Plus 100 based on Alan Moore's story. Adventure Time a little bit for Boom. I'm just looking at my shelf.
You've done a ton of stuff. No,
I've been here and there,
When we interviewed you the first time, like you've done I remember the number was like a ridiculous amount of Zenescope books.
Yeah. And that's kind of hard to clock too, because I edited as much as I wrote, and I don't really consider the ones I edited in my body of work, because my style as editor was I really wanted to hire the creators, kind of streamline the process and produce the comic, but not really, push my story ideas. Like, in Marvel, I think sometimes the editor role is seen as someone who kind of directs storylines in some ways. That was what I, in some ways, didn't want to do at Zenescope, because those stories were already written writer's room style, where I would go there, I would drive down to the office in Pennsylvania. Ralph, Joe, they run the company. Those two and Raven Gregory and Dave Franchini and we'd get in a room together and we would really break stories. And the ones that, were more in depth, like, for example, Grim Fairy Tales, I broke that with Ralph and Joe. And that was going to be the relaunch. That was going to be issues 101 to 125. And it was just so in depth that it was like, all right, this is going to be my next endeavor because we already have it all here. But we'd also come up with these shorter ideas where we could form a solicit off of it. That kind of thing I would like to give to a different writer who wasn't me, who I could kind of see pitch a story and thrive, and not have me really worrying about trying to put my own voice in there, and instead, try to diversify Zenescope's voice. Because one of the concerns was back then, and I think more about this now, is that I was being seen as the Zenescope writer, and Zenescope's voice was sounding like my voice. When both Zenescope wanted not that. Zenescope wanted it to have a diverse catalog, and I wanted to be seen as a diverse creator. And I edited a lot more than I even remember there, because it was just such a blur. They were at one point doing like 16 titles a month.
Oh, yeah. No, they had a huge amount. Well, I mean, and they also, I think we talked about this a little bit last time. They always focused on very distinctive covers.
Yeah. There's Ralph Tedesco actually hit a very interesting conversation about this on Twitter, because he's gone through these phases of seeing different styles of reaction. There was one time, it was around the time that everyone was so upset or pretending to be upset about the Milo Manara Spider-Woman cover,
Yep.
And that time was, it's still people being critical of Zenescope. And then you had creators like Tim Seeley and Hackslash, who are more, they're not seen the same way as Zenescope at the time was, even though they do the same kind of covers. Marvel in many ways does those same kind of covers. So I saw Ralph spark this cool conversation where he was like, what is it about Zenescope, for those who either read it or those who criticize it and don't read it? Why do you feel about the company how you do? And it got some very interesting responses. And what I saw primarily was that people weren't aware that those are the C cover. There's an A and a B cover, which are story driven, and I was just kind of like taken aback myself after having worked with them for so many years. And actually, I've started to work with them more again now. And seeing that the reality of what some people think was so far from the truth that I've known for years. I don't know, man. It was very eye-opening that people will only look at and notice what they already expect something to be, Like,
oh no, for sure. Trust me, we're gonna look at some Dynamite covers later, so we know
they see confirmation bias, and like they'll scroll past the cover of Van Helsing, which looks much like a Marvel cover or a DC cover or a fucking Valiant cover, any kind of superhero cover. Zenescope does that every month, but people will scroll to like a convention exclusive and see Robin Hood dressed up in like a football costume from the state the convention's at, and they'll make fun of it because it's like, but that's there because that'll sell at the convention to people who live there. And people don't understand. I actually saw a comment here that was spot on before. There's a huge section of people in comics who don't understand the collector's aspect.
Yes, for sure.
That like when I always forget how to pronounce his name. James T. Onion, when that dude, right? When he drops an issue of what's his horror book? The one that he puts out himself.
Is it something that's going on the shoulder?
Razor Blades.
Right. I'm sorry.
Dude, when he drops an issue of Razor Blades, the amount of people who are buying it that are speculators versus the amount of people who are buying it to read it, hugely the other way. Because guess what, dude? I bought 12, like it's that sells and that will sell and continue to sell because people don't understand that people also who aren't them love comics as an item to collect or to flip.
Yep. No, it's very. So tell us real quick. I mean, this is gonna be such a fun conversation tonight. Tell us about Destiny New York. If people don't know what is the premise of this book?
All right, so it is it's set in a world where magic is a real and normal part of everyday life, and it follows Logan McBride. And when she was young, a little girl, she had a prophecy made about her. She completes her destiny when she's just 13, and we pick up with her when she's in her 30s, trying to live a meaningful life beyond her destiny. So it's sort of like, fantasy stories always climax at the fulfillment of the prophecy, of the defeating of the bad guy. What happens next? What's the life of these fantasy characters after that?
Yep. Very nice.
Yeah. So that is
obviously it's Black Mask is where it's coming out from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Black Mask does the single issues, and my company Space Between does the ongoing trades.
Right. And you can go on Kickstarter right now and see what?
You can go on Kickstarter starting Tuesday. The link is tinyurl.com/Destiny New York 5, and you can go there and pledge to what we have. That's going to launch Tuesday at 10 a.m. And yeah, it's just the next installment. Oh, you can see it right here on the screen. That is the variant cover by Jen St. Ange. And we have 2 interior pages by Matteo Leone. He drew Cherry Gilbert Necromancer, which is a spin-off that was put out through Kickstarter, and it's going to be coming out now as well. And he did so well with the characters that are established that we wanted to bring him in to the main title.
Nice. And that's the one you co-wrote with Vito, right? With Cherry Gilbert, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's a question somebody has, and Shane Davis is saying a very friendly hello, Joe. So
hello, Shane.
Herman Bennett, wants to, this was a while ago. He wants to say, what advice, if you want to work in comics, and I'm hearing this more and more, you want to get into comics, you do not want to work for DC and Marvel. What's some good advice to give people?
I'd say it is very easy to not work with them because it's very hard to get hired by them,
Yeah.
I think that my best advice is to, and it's always tough because not everyone has the means. But what I did, my work with Marvel was also through an indie publisher. They licensed their titles through different publishers for novels, for media tie-in. So the work that I did for Marvel was even through a small publisher. I did through Joe Books 4 novels, and then I did through I think it was HarperCollins that did Spider-Man Spideography. So my advice to avoid the bigger guys and to make a living off of indie work is you really do first have to have a sample of your work that you produce. We were talking about Zenescope, right? The first company that I worked with as a comics writer was Zenescope. And that's not true. On a larger scale, the first company I worked with was IDW, and that was on Angel. And that at the time was one of their biggest titles. So I just marketed myself so hard and wrote so many scripts. And at the time, social media was a much different landscape in 2008 than it is now. So it was much easier to present myself as a writer and a media guy to the artists, the editors, the writers at IDW than it would be trying to break through, the thickness of the fog of everyone doing that right now, So while I was able to use my Angel sample to get jobs at Zenescope, that's going to be harder now. What I would suggest is writing a one-shot, doing whatever you can to get the money to hire a professional artist to draw it, not even a one shot, 5-10 pages of good story, and just put it out there. And what you want to do then is link it on your social media, and then use your social media to harass actual pros.
Sure.
You know, because if you use social media to harass pros, you get a huge following, dude. You know.
Perfect. I understood. Okay, this is.
Oh God, that's great. But
all right, also, you heard it here first. Get on social media, harass pros. That is the way to get into comics.
But you gotta like misspell their name and
do
stuff
that,
like that.
All of it, and then maybe a company will believe enough in you to put a whole marketing movement behind your name when you have no credits. Yes. Maybe it'll happen for you. You know. But no. What I think that you really should do is focus on creating something that is fully you, that you hire someone to draw well. And that's a hard part, because man, looking back, the amount of money I spent on art for stories that I wrote to be that simple, dude, it was so bad. Like, looking back, I couldn't believe that I had such an untrained eye. It took me so long as a creator to be able to discern what was cool to see versus publishable versus very good. Because the truth is, if you draw nothing, if you have published nothing and an artist who is okay draws your work, it's going to be pretty cool to you.
Yeah.
That's not enough, though. That's not enough. So you have to be able to discern what's cool to you versus what someone would actually be interested in and see as a professional sample.
This is a big difference. This is something that seems to trip people up too. It's like this is something I like. It's like, congratulations, nobody else does though. I mean, you have to both meet the stuff you like and also have it be marketable to other people.
Yeah. 100%. And it's I think that you can train yourself to get to the level where Scott Snyder had this advice where he said the best thing that you can do as a writer is follow your own interests with precision. And that's great advice after you train yourself to understand what will sell versus what won't sell. And that's hard because it's not a thing that we as creators want to think about. I consider myself an artist before a businessman, but at the same time, the stories that I have to pursue are the ones that I know have a way to exist. Because if they don't, I can still do it, you know. But it's going to be a problem to get funded if it's a Kickstarter. It's going to be a problem to get picked up if it's a pitch. So really, what I've almost wanted myself to kind of transition over to doing is that when those ideas that I love that won't sell come up, maybe I should do that as a short story or a novel, so it's just prose. So I cut the cost of the art out, and it's just really just me, because that'll be, you know, it's at least easier and less unwieldy than putting all that money into a comic that I love, but that no one is really gonna, you know.
For sure.
Yeah,
and part of it's about getting on the board, right? You need to start the clock somehow.
I'd also throw in say get a good lettering. I mean, you can get a decent up and coming letterer or something for like $15 a page. Just you gotta, if you're shelling out for the art, get a decent letterer and make it look nice.
Yeah, don't blow it at that step.
That happens so often.
These people, you know, you're below, you know, $100, $200 a page or whatever, you know, depending on the level of artist you're getting or more on that. And then it's like, and then you're gonna let it all fall apart because you're not willing to pay like $15 or you know, something for like an up and coming letterer to make it look nice. Like, come on.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. And also too, I empathize in that those the smaller financial choices, they seem so easy to kind of like ignore, you know. I remember there was a time when I was finishing Destiny New York Volume 1, and my editor Shannon and myself, we were going through chapter 1 of Volume 1, and I was just like, man, the pace in the middle, it's kind of fast, you know. I think that if we have one extra page, great. But if we have one extra page, it throws our shit off for the whole book. So if we have one extra page, we need two. So I was like, is that pacing, which is the right call, worth that price of the page? At the time, I was like tortured over it because we were already over budget, and I made the call to do that. And now I look back, and if I hadn't done that, every time I would read the book or like look at the book, I would think, I could have been better, it could have been better. So I think that when you learn how to really navigate those choices and you can remove yourself from the idea that, that you should always cut costs, then you'll be better off as a creator. And that doesn't to say that you shouldn't cut costs. Like, for example, this is a very similar story with much more experience on it. Right now, I'm designing the layout for a Destiny New York anniversary book. It's going to be an art book. And my thought was to cover 5 years of Destiny New York, every cover, every print, and every cover and print of every spinoff. And that would have been a 120-page hardcover. And then I was like, I wonder what happens if I cut the spinoffs. And that made a very clean 80-page hardcover. And I was like, oh, that's a no-brainer. That I do because the other shit's not going anywhere. That I'll do book 2 because that also comes down to figuring out what people will pay. If I had a 120-page hardcover, it's a $40 book, So I had to really just think about the price in that way. And that was with more of a seasoned experience as a publisher too. Whereas, that's something that you train yourself to understand what cost will pay off and what will leave you in a bad situation.
It's kind of this is great advice, by the way. We're going to some details here. It's wonderful. This is so hopefully people are listening to this on replay as well. And yes, this will go up on the podcast stuff as well, so you can see it without YouTube's nonsense. But here's another question, and I should be reading these because people are listening on the podcast aren't seeing any of this stuff, so they miss all the fun jokes. How do you solicit your work? Do you cold call, blind email your comic to some editor, Black Mask or Scout, or other smaller publisher? And the question is being asked here, but there's been a conversation certainly on social media lately about never send your ideas to anybody. Has been kind of this thread that's been tossed around. How do you get in front of a publisher?
Oh, okay. So it's difficult, it's here's what I feel like isn't discussed is that people always do the whole like kind of like overarching how do I break into comics thing. The truth is that my way into every publisher was dramatically different.
Excellent.
Like Black Mask. I met Matt Pizzolo, who runs Black Mask Studios, at a New York Comic Con party. Met him there, and it was a very quick introduction. I hated the party, dude. It was this crowded, weird party where I ended up feeling. I was thinking, like, why am I there? No one here fucks with me. No one here knows who I am. They don't respect Zenescope. And I personally felt kind of like slighted. I mean, that's just, that's like me projecting probably, but it's true. I felt very attached to the work that I was doing. And I was, I felt that Robin Hood specifically should have been recognized, and that in many ways that it didn't get seen how I thought it would have. So I had like a chip on my shoulder, and I left the party thinking, man, no one really like sees what I'm doing at the same level as like what other similar creators are doing for different companies. And I felt bad about that. And then the next year I met Matt again at New York Comic Con, and I was, I was taken by the fact that he remembered me. I went to his table to like introduce myself, and he's like, "Oh, we met last year, didn't we?" And I was like, "Fuck, we did." And this guy remembers. That's pretty cool, And he asked questions about Zenescope's marketing and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, who sees what I'm doing there is this fucking guy," and that's great.
That's very great.
so I stayed on Matt for a while. You know, I would ask for pitch meetings. I did a pitch meeting with him, and you know, it was just always trying to figure out what the right book was. And then one day, I think in like, oh man, maybe 2017 or 18 now, he DM'd me on Twitter after so many in-person meetings, and he said, "Hey Pat, do you got anything?" And I emailed him 20 ideas, and he took 3 of them.
Nice.
So that's how that happened. I saw Scout was there in the questions. Scout, I have a book coming through Scout that hasn't been announced yet. The way that happened was I saw them at multiple conventions, and I put my stuff in front of them, just like kind of like stayed on them too. But I wasn't really seeing a lot of the same person. I wasn't like, there was no Matt at Scout that I was seeing. I was just seeing various people. And then one day, Bob France and Kevin Cuff, who do Metal Shark Bro at Scout, they brought a gentleman from Scout over to my table at Baltimore Comic-Con. And that day, multiple people from Scout came over and like checked out what someone previous had told them that they'd seen. James Hayek is one of them. And they had seen Destiny New York. And they were talking about doing that book when I had already had to deal with Black Mask. And what I was saying to them is like, listen, I want to do something, and we should. This is already being done, but I would love to actually do a different original book for you guys. And then with that in mind, with many conversations on the phone and everything too, I ended up one day just messaging Charlie Stickney, who was publisher there and the writer of White Ash. And I said, hey, I have something, and sent it his way. And they said yes. Yeah, so there's it is being at conventions, that is the through line of that. But what I think it even more is, it's building connections with other creators, and that can be hard because, I mean, dude, honestly, that the feeling that I had at the party is the same feeling I have when I go on Twitter and when I see a comics industry that I don't really feel part of. I feel that way still. And that might sound ridiculous as someone who has, I think this is going to be my 18th funded Kickstarter. That's great. But I also, you know, I don't feel seen by my peers sometimes. And what makes me what jolts me out of that is seeing, oh, well, I kind of have the Scout thing because of Bob, Kevin, and Charlie. I kind of had the Black Mask thing because Larry said go to that party, and Matt was cool. Like, there are human beings to tie to these gigs. You know?
Yeah.
And, that, I think, when you're not seeing recognition in other ways, is kind of easy to forget, but it's something that I'm reminded of when I talk about these things, you know?
Yeah. Pat, could you tell the story about the one time you did go to the Black Mask booth that I was there and saw what?
Oh, the guy, right?
Yeah, the guy, yeah.
Dude, oh, that was kind of like devastating, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I printed out this, it was a full pitch document because Matt and I had talked a lot before. And I was like, all right, let's make this shit formal. This is like the engagement ring of a pitch. I made this printed book of like 7 different pitches, and some with art too. And I saw him talking, and then every time that I would look, he wasn't at the booth. So I went up to Katie Rex, who was at the time writing Jade Street Protection Services. And I was like, hey, can you bring me over when Matt is actually there and I could talk to him? So she said, yeah. So it brings me over. He's there. And I'm like, hey, Matt, can I pitch to you real quick? And he goes, it has to be real quick because I'm on my way to a panel. So I'm like, fuck, let me do it in like 2 minutes. So I start to do it. And then this dude, and this is New York Comic-Con, a dude barrels into us while throwing up, falls down on the floor, and he's like there. And all of a sudden, Matt like cracks into like, we have to help this dude, you know? And I'm like, Yeah, I mean we do, but so,
yeah, maybe not. Yeah,
everyone around me like cracks into helping this guy. Someone goes, "Hey Pat, go tell the security." I'm like, I don't know what the fuck the security is, So I like go through these rows of packed with people, and I find the security, and I'm like, "Hey, there's a guy. I think he's drunk. Can you just help us out?" And he's like, I don't really work for the show. I'm like, oh fuck, So finally I get back there. He's on his feet, he's conscious, but the pitch meeting is for sure over. And it would be about a year before that DM came. And to me, I was like, oh, that's the end of this shit, But
I think Kwanzaa was there too. I want to say he was at the table. I'm trying to think because I'm trying to remember it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was at least you, Matt, and Katie Rex saw the whole shit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, a barfing drunk dude who passed out barreled into us and just destroyed the whole pitch meeting. And it was like now it's funny. At the time, I was like, damn, the luck, dude. Because like I felt I had it in the bag.
That's the worst sabotage job since Gary Hart.
Yeah, it was just it was horrible, and it's funny now, but it was it felt like I was being like the cosmos was saying, nah bitch, but I'll say this though, as far as the stories in that pitch packet, none of them were the ones that Black Mask picked up. They were all different stories.
Because there's vomit all over them.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
It's funny because it hurts. Yes.
And it did at the time hurt. But now looking back, would I prefer Matt have taken one of those stories versus Snap Flash, Breathless, and the third story, which hasn't even come out yet? No, I wouldn't. Because like Matt's work as publisher on those titles is what made me want to partner with him on Destiny New York, which is much more of an ongoing, in-depth project.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's funny how many Comic-Con stories start and we're not into with somebody threw up. There's a lot of I've got a lot of those. But I've never I'm thinking, despite all the comments about being drunk, I've never thrown up at a Comic-Con.
I never have either.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys mean like at the show or at the whole experience?
At
the whole experience, I believe, but definitely not at the show or at an after party.
Definitely not at the show or an after party. I hate vomiting. It's very rare for me.
What?
I hate the whole experience.
I mean, it's horrible. The show that I got destroyed at was Motor City Comic Con. Every night I would go out with these Zenoscope guys. And oh my God, we got this pizza and there was just so much liquor and it was all, it was all comped by the hotel. So what I wanted to do, which was a mistake, obviously, was get drunk enough on the free alcohol to not pay downstairs at the bar, So we were in the hotel room, getting drunk. And I went down to the bar, realized that I was horribly destroyed, and returned to the room, and I was just in the shower for the whole night. And it was just, dude, it was a nightmare. No. And I mean, that's the last time I ever drank at a con, because I'm not even a big drinker. Like now, I don't drink at all. But not even because of any problem, but because maybe you guys can tell me, but is it because I'm older or fat? Because when I drink, my fucking veins feel hot. I just feel uncomfortable when I'm drunk, dude.
I get it.
I think I'd be uncomfortable. I wasn't at this point.
Yeah, no, I'd rather just. Well, the funny thing now is all the cons and the places where weed's legal. Like the last time I was at Emerald City, it was like me, Matt Ehrman, and Mark Bouchard. Went to one of the pot stores there, and then it's like we ran into like Justin Jordan and like Ben Templesmith and like everyone's just, it's like the con after party is everyone waiting online at one of the dispensaries.
Seattle's a mess now. I mean, did. Yeah, I mean, the whole convention center smells like weed at this point by the last day. But I just remember I remember jumping in a cab with a bunch of other guys, and I look at Scott. Look at this guy, and he is he's struggling, clearly struggling. And I'm like, I'm going to be sitting next to this guy in the cab, and I'm uneasy. And he kind of half throws up before he gets in the car, but he catches it with his hand.
Bro.
And then he's like, and he's trying to flip it off, but he's trying to pass it off like, I didn't do anything. And then he sits down, but you can smell, I mean, the door shut, like shit, we're going to Old Town now. And it's like, that's like a 25-minute drive in this traffic. And we're stuck here with this guy. And he's, he was a decent legend, I would say. And yeah, it was unpleasant for everybody. Anyway,
I wish you could say his name. I wish you could say his name, dude.
Yeah. Let's say a very famous inker. But anyway, it's
I mean, there's like 3 of them, so
yeah, I know we can narrow it down pretty quick. Pat, we do this every week, and I'm curious to get your take on it. And unfortunately, this is the nightmare section for Joe, because we basically put up the comics coming out next week. Now, the good news is, I think both of you have comics coming out next week, so that's
hey, yeah,
oh, gang, there we go.
Yes, but it is. What's your take when you see that next week we're going to get 118 new comics?
Oh my god,
like a lot.
And that's just the direct market. That's not
my god,
outside the direct market.
Yeah,
I was just talking about this on the phone. Had a meeting about this kind of shit. Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. There's 118 and only 27 are from Marvel and DC?
Yes.
What the fuck? What?
This is going to be a fun time going through these titles, I think, with you, because the sad part is there's some good stuff in there. There's some unique, neat stuff in there, but it has zero chance of anybody discovering this when you're one of these 118. I don't know, and I'm going to have to start, Joe, with the highest numbered comic, taking out Detective in Action, because this is a much funnier bit. When you don't have an Action Comics and Detective, because then you're like, we had a while back where the highest numbered comic was like number 28 or something. It's just anyway.
Go back to they're going to renumber Action Comics again.
Sure. Come on, help out.
It's going to be awful. We're gonna.
So I'm curious. All right, so let's here we got. So to answer your question, here we go. Here's what we got next week. Just kind of we'll go through this pretty quickly, but I'm curious if any of this stuff. This is the moment where we can kind of say, hey, people should check this stuff out. Here's something we're reading on here that looks exciting, and I've been impressed with what artists, writers, and artisans have done. I think they've got some good books out right now.
Sure.
Berserker is a beast in terms of its sales. So
yeah.
I'm surprised so few from Aftershock here. I mean, I know that Aftershock doesn't do like too much, but just, I mean, they're one of the few names that I know as far as small publishers. I've heard of Behemoth. I've heard of AWA. I did not know that it's called Artists, Writers, and Artisans.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how if IDW put Idea and Design Works,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Boom, I know. Doing too many books, but Boom, I know,
Yeah, it is too many books, but I get it. It's.
I mean,
they're killing it too. Boom. I mean,
they're killing it too, though.
Oh yeah, no, they have a bunch of stuff that's going well. People are enjoying the Many Deaths of Lila Starr. I only read the first issue so far. I can't believe issue 3 is already out.
You know what? I will say, this is a totally off-topic thing, kind of, but I do want to just shout out a book called I think it's called A Something of Crows. An Unkindness of Crows. From Boom Studios, flew under the radar. Excellent book. I felt that was the book from Boom to get the Eisner nom. Didn't get it. Instead, the book where every panel is super, super close did. It looks beautiful. But still, I think that Boom is making great books, and that what's unfortunate is that the high concepts are the ones that sell. And what Boom is doing that some might not really see is that they're also doing these sick, like low-key books. And that's cool to see Boom doing. Because I know that they, their cash cows are the other books? Are the books like Seven Secrets? You know,
is this The Unkindness of Ravens? Is that what?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah, and then Boom did get the they got nicer nom for that Stand at Attica graphic novel.
Good, awesome. That's Pat Kennedy's the editor on that, right?
Yeah, he got like a supervising sort of editor position, but it was Jared Runesmith. I'm butchering his last name, and Amazian is the artist on that. Amazian did Denny O'Neill's story in mine, so
sick.
So yeah, so that was cool.
Good.
Yeah, but
that book deserves it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad that got that. If people should check out Stand at Attica, that's a thing that actually happened, and it's co-written by Big Black, who the book's about, who's passed since. But
I will say too that my opinion about who gets the Eisner nom, I just like to see the weirder books get it, because to me, the books that are high concept and indie, I just feel that they sell based on the concept. I like the weirder, stranger things that couldn't have been a big movie, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'd rather see the Eisners. They should go one of two directions. Either they should go more for the sales and kind of what's really moving the market, or they should go for the smaller stuff. They're sitting in this weird middle ground where it's this kind of award bait type comic that I'm just
glad so few women got a nom this year.
Yeah. How about Jesus, Joe? I like the inherent promise in You Promised Me Darkness. I'm sure that book by Behemoth is not what it sounds like, but it sounds like just some kind of angry boyfriend, girlfriend, like you promised me darkness, you asshole, and you gave me sunny day. You did that.
Yeah, it sounds like a song title by My Chemical Romance, you know?
Yes, exactly. You promised me darkness, dick.
Yeah,
or love those titles for emo songs where like the title had no lyrics in the song. Like Take Next Sunday would have a song called You're So Last Summer, which isn't referenced in the song at all, you know?
Yep.
That weird shit.
Yeah. What was that? What was that band that was like a spinoff of Taking Back Sunday?
Oh, dude, you're getting deep in the trenches.
Because
that is Straight Light Run.
Yes, Straight Light Run. Yeah.
Dude, they are the epitome of what I was just talking about. They had a song called Existentialism on Prom Night.
Yeah.
Dude.
Jesus.
Oh God, I haven't listened to them in a minute, but
it sounds a little pretentious.
I listen to a lot.
You know, it is pretentious, but it's fucking lit too.
Okay, all right.
They had a song called Sunrise Highway, which is our shit here in New York, you know?
Oh, right.
Beautiful.
They can't all be Coldplay or Imagine Dragons, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so more comics, and this one has, like I said, Black Mask next week. This is yours.
Wait, where am I?
Destiny. It's the cover.
There we go. Yeah.
I didn't give people some TNA from Dynamite, so we can put your book up there.
There we go. Beautiful.
That'll come next. Yeah.
Oh, and I see. You know, there are companies that I do know here. Oh, they're Black Maskers. Yeah. Devil's Due. Devil's Due. I work with Devil's Due on Mercy Sparks. Josh Blaylock, great guy.
Yep.
Encoded I haven't read yet. I'm sure it's dope, but that book is cool to see here. Again, you know what? I'm surprised to see so much from Dark Horse and so little from Dynamite.
That is weird.
It is. This Dynamite's kind of an off week. For
By the way,
now, they do have plenty of variants. Don't worry, folks.
I don't know why I sounded so Trump when I said that. I said so little from Dynamite. You know,
Trump is established as a very, very big Dynamite fan. So
Dynamite's very low energy.
Yeah, I'm going to get another mail from Nick now. Anyway,
that's funny.
So Pat, I'm curious, especially you worked at Xenoscope. So now, we see we've got 2 Dynamite books up here. So we do this, or this is what some people look forward to every week. Taking a look at the Dynamite covers of what we like to call like the butts of the week. So
let's do it.
What's your take of this? It's a pretty average week for Dynamite. But I like this the Sacred Six picture, the bigger one. the more you look at it, the more interesting it gets because they're having some kind of ass fight.
Yeah, those titties are flying, dude.
Yeah, I guess they are.
Oh,
I mean,
who drew this? You know,
the more you look at Sacred Six, that big one, the more it really, they're having a good old fashioned butt fight.
Yeah, you know, I feel like when Zenescope does stuff that is not even like this, they get roasted. But Dynamite, for some reason, does not get roasted. I don't know why. Like at the time that I was having to like defend Robin Hood as like not a sexist book, Gail Simone was working on books for Dynamite that had covers just like this.
Yeah.
So it felt like the industry was giving, two different standards based on who was publishing the book.
That's that does not happen. The industry is they do not have any kind of hypocritical stuff like that. What are you talking about?
Not in comics.
No.
Yeah. You know what though? Yeah. As far as these covers, I don't mind these. It's funny, that they're doing the butt fight. It's fun. It's weird that like the character who is not Vampirella, I have no fucking clue who she is. She has her arm hooked through Vampirella's, but Vampirella's butt is way in front of her,
Yeah. No, it doesn't work. Like
no, it really doesn't. Is this Dynamite's attempt to take on Dick Fight Island?
I think that's that's right.
What it looks like a fucking TikTok dance,
Yeah.
It's very peculiar. What also Vampirella doesn't look that happy, but her opponent looks like she's having a pretty good time. Like,
they're enjoying the fight. Like maybe they have like a Goku Vegeta dynamic where they're just enjoying the challenge here of the butt battle. Dude, yeah, I don't know. That's funny to see. I don't really follow Dynamite's work, so to see that they're doing this is, this is less cheesecake than what Zenescope does, even on the variants. I feel.
Well, it varies from week to week. We had one about 2 or 3 weeks ago that was just like the horniest collection of stuff you've ever seen, and upshot camera angles, and it was just it was some good comedy, but.
Yeah, I mean, there's some cool art here too. Like,
for sure.
Let's see, the Sacred Six.
That girl's getting eaten in that one. So
the one where it's like her veins are coming out and shit, like forming, like that. The art there is like it's technically good. Like this here looks good. Sonjaversal, what the fuck is that? Sonjaversal, what book is that, dude? Sonjaversal.
Sonia Versatile, I think, is what it's supposed to.
No, it's Sonia Versatile.
It's a joke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus.
I mean,
oh my God, Joe finally caught me with sarcasm. These covers are also, I think some of these are the A, B, and AC variants, which means they've gone through the entire alphabet and we're,
Yeah, I have nothing against any of the covers here.
No, sure.
I think
you want to be against the covers.
God, dude. Yeah. I think I do maybe have a bit of like a chip on my shoulder from years of defending covers like this.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's funny. I would defend covers like this, and then I felt, I would go to Ralph and be like, hey man, do we have to keep doing this? And the answer was yeah, because that's what Zenescope is known for as far as their exclusives go. And at the time, I was like, man, I wish that like I didn't have to have that conversation constantly. And the truth was, what I didn't realize is that I didn't. The people who criticized me for working with them, for doing those covers, those people who are never going to buy the book. You know what I mean? Like they aren't the customer.
No, they're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, and I didn't really get that, but now I get that because I mean I've I was young, dude. I was in my early 20s in a place where I could go on Twitter and see someone like ask me a question, and I felt like I had to answer everybody. And now I've been doing this for 10 years, and I feel I have to answer to nobody, and it feels so much better.
Oh yeah,
so much better.
Oh yeah. Well, has social media kind of just destroyed everything? Do you think?
Yeah, it's I mean, dude, I try to not judge anyone as far as like what's going to happen to them in the next life, but dude, if Jack isn't going to hell, who the fuck is? You know what I mean?
Well said. Yes,
like,
please.
Like people are like people on Twitter will tweet, "Get off Facebook. Facebook is this and that," and I'm like, bro, you are on Twitter. There's nothing worse than Twitter. Twitter has, it's created this false idea of how we communicate when the reality is that such a small fraction of people are on Twitter, and a smaller fraction are the ones who really, they kind of define the way that Twitter flows. Like, for example, we brought it up last time, the whole James Gunn thing, right? Marvel realized that people don't give a fuck about what James Gunn did. They want to see Guardians 3 by James Gunn. Twitter made it seem as if no one would see it and everyone gave a fuck about what he said. More people are in the real world are receptive to a joke and are forgiving than you would think by looking at Twitter.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And today, not to go into all the drama, but today did seem like everybody lost their minds a little bit more than usual. The day started out somewhat quiet and then went to shit really quickly.
Oh my God. I can't believe how many tweets happened that were the private discussions amongst many people, because that's the truth is we all share these insane tweets and go like, oh, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Yeah. Dude, IDW is, not to change the topic.
No.
It's good.
I'm just surprised. IDW is going off.
Yeah.
How many books is it? 1, 2?
11, I believe. Yeah.
Bro, that's so many. That's so fucking many.
It is. Like, it's too many. Too many books.
There's the episode of Sopranos where Chris and Paulie are having a fight outside of a restaurant after they've given a bad tip, and the waiter comes out and he confronts them, and Chris throws a rock at the waiter's head, and the waiter falls down and he's having a seizure, and they think it's going to pass, and then he keeps seizing, and Chris goes, he's still going, this asshole, and IDW is still going, this asshole.
Yeah.
Look at that offer.
Yeah. No, they are just throwing stuff out the door. For sure.
That's they putting out nearly as many comics as DC in a week.
Yeah,
seems
one
like
less. Yeah,
see, it seems excessive. And then I'm looking at what DC's doing here too, and I'm just like, all right, Batman Fortnite again. Huh.
Yeah, Batman Fortnite. That will put a lot of sales out, and everybody's been saying. I've been kind of enjoying The Flash, but I really wish they would return to the Heroes in Crisis thing that was the most popular fan favorite moment of the last 20 years. And so I'm really glad to have an issue with, Wally revisiting all the people he murdered.
Yeah, no, that's going to be really exciting for people.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Wonder Girl. I'll read it.
Sure.
I read the first one. I hate Wonder Woman right now. Wonder Girl's fine. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens there. Nightwing
was Wonder Woman the one that had Thirsty Thor this week?
Thirsty Thor's Day.
Thirsty Thor's Day. Yeah,
because that's how Wonder Woman and Thor are gonna say.
Thirsty Thor's Day.
I cannot. But I'm just no.
Dude, I had to find out who fucking writes this. I'll search that in my own time. But Jesus.
Yeah, no, please, and check out their Twitter,
bro. Okay.
No, don't do that.
No. But no, it's I'm sure they're all lovely, normal people outside of that. But
Jack's little social experiment hellscape, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Heavy Metal Magazine, some of the characters do have armor, I hear. So look out for that. They'll be wearing clothes for some of the pages that you're able to receive if they send it to you. Yeah, got a lot of things out there in one. It's a lot of comics, but hey, how about Becstar next week?
Exciting.
That's a nice cover, man.
Yeah, Sweeney Boo.
Sweeney Boo's the shit. I actually just I haven't seen this cover yet. I just retweeted one of Sweeney's art pieces. Just so good. So good. Yeah, man, this looks really nice. I love like the pastel background. This is just nice.
Oh yeah.
It's that lighting that Joe's famous for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Image throwing out quite a lot.
Yeah, I expected from them. I'm not too surprised there. It's What's Walking Dead? Oh, Deluxe. Okay.
Yeah. Then we can make money from it twice. Is the strategy?
I mean, at that point, why not?
Yeah. Hell, if somebody will buy it, it's great. I got Jupiter's Legacy Requiem, and I was told that there's no embargo, so I can put up a review of that. So I'll do that in a day or two as well.
Oh, nice. No, that's good. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Oh, Silver Coin #3. I've been enjoying Silver Coin.
Very nice.
It's interesting because it's an anthology kind of series, but it's the same artist every issue with a different writer.
Oh, flipping it up.
Okay. Yeah, so the first issue was written by Chip Zdarsky, and the second issue was written by Kelly Thompson. I don't know who's writing the third, but yeah, interesting. Savage Dragon is still going, huh?
Mm-hmm. That'll never. I mean,
no, that's no. I mean, it'll end, in the sense that everything ends. But
yeah.
But no, everything. Yeah. But
I was surprised. I showed Joe Ant came out this week, which has a long legacy of that comic getting back into print, and it looked like they shipped that thing without finishing the art.
Wait, hold on. Ant by Mario Gully, I think, right?
That was once by, yeah. And now it's being put out by Eric Larson.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But he's using a strange kind of sketch, don't finish my work style for it.
Interesting. So is Eric drawing it too, or what?
Yes.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I had no idea that it was coming back.
Yeah, it's peculiar though, and it also looks like the artist got kind of tired midway through the book and then started going a lot faster.
Yo, those old school Ant covers though.
Well, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny, dude.
Yeah, I'll have to put up some pictures. And so next week here's Marvel. Somebody was asking you, Joe or Pat, are either of you reading the Heroes Reborn stuff? Because it ends next week.
I read the first issue. I don't care. It's I hate all of these events. I hate this constant going back and calling everything a name that's already been used before, but it's not associated with the original event. I don't know whose idea it is, but it's a stupid idea, and they keep doing it. They're like, it's Heroes Reborn. Is that anything like the original? No. And then we're doing the Clone Saga again. Is that anything like the original? No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then Hickman's doing Inferno. Does that tie into the original Inferno? No.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's weird.
What the fuck?
It's not. People speculate it's to hold on to licenses and trademarks, but that's actually not how that works. You don't need to put out a new series with the same name to hold on to a trademark like that. That's
why they do it. If anything, it seems like, because they put out the Inferno Omnibus finally, so it seems like they're trying to do something where, like, maybe we can trick people into buying our back catalog by naming shit old stuff, and hopefully, and we'll just hope that doesn't. We're not causing our own market confusion, because we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not reading that. I mean, that sounded aggressive.
That's okay. You said what we were saying a couple of weeks ago. I know
that's not what I mean.
Wes was on the show, and he was like, I kind of like it, and I think I don't know if it was Joe or me who said it's a comic for dumb people, and we made him feel very bad. That's all I.
Yeah, I mean, what I like of Marvel right now is the last thing I read was a tie-in to what was that event that Al Ewing did last year?
Empire
itself. All right. The tie-in that I liked was the Captain America book. I think that guy's taking over the main title now. Maybe I think something Kennedy Johnson or something.
Philip Kennedy Johnson. Yeah.
Boom, Philip Kennedy Johnson.
He's good.
Right. He can write.
He's writing Alien right now.
I don't think it's confirmed, but yes, that's what I've heard in the last 24 hours that he's going to take over the book.
He can write.
Oh my god, that's gonna. I'm picking that up.
Yeah, that would be good. I heard Christopher Priest was an option, but it sounds like Philip Kennedy Johnson. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah,
he did the recent what was the series? The guy who isn't Captain America,
U.S. Agent.
Yeah, he did that series.
Yep.
The first issue was all right. I think that he's a writer who is. It might actually lend itself his style to the way people read now is because his stuff is so good digested in huge blocks.
It's true. Yeah, very true.
So yeah, I think that either way it goes, it will be pretty good.
If those are the two options, I'll be very happy. If it's like and no shave, if the guy who's writing Iron Man right now, I don't want that to have.
It can't be him. It can't.
Wait. Is that the same Iron Man that was rebooted at #1 recently?
Yes.
Yeah.
That I mean, I don't mean to. I don't know who wrote it. The shit is trash.
Yes.
Yes.
I have nothing against the guy at all. I'm sure he's a great person.
Things just don't work. It's fine.
And another thing too is a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with Marvel or DC, their editors a lot of times hire you to write their story.
That's what I was talking about at Zenescope. That was the opposite of what I wanted to go into it doing. Yeah, that's what I see too often, dude. I wanted to support writers who had their own vision, and it was hard because they were also coming in and like pitching off of like Zenescope's house ideas, which is how Zenescope does it, But I did what I could to not like to not be a filter between them and Ralph and Joe, rather have them give their take, But yeah, dude, that the Iron Man stuff, I don't know. I've read 2 issues and I couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah, same here. I think I tapped out after 2. Maybe I got through 3, but no, I was. No.
But it got so much worse.
I mean, again, like you said, I don't have anything against the guy because I don't even. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
I didn't look at. I mean, for all I know,
it's Joe.
Someone that I know. But yeah, it's real bad.
Yeah, and I love Iron Man.
Yeah. No, I mean my litmus test. I really disliked the Iron Man 2020 event, and this new series dipped right under it and continued south. It's bad. Anyway, planet-sized X-Men. The whole X-Men universe is changing forever.
If it didn't happen every single month, I'd be more excited.
Yeah,
because that's the problem with all the hyperbolic marketing. Is every issue turns into you can't miss this. The whole universe changes. It's like that shit ain't happening 20-something issues in a row. You got to tone it down. It's
now I did make a mistake here. So Bell Sirens is coming out from Zenescope, I believe, next week, and it is not a Vault comic. So I just
I see.
I did not cut and paste correctly. So this is my stupidity. But
I thought Heavy was already over by now, but I guess it's still going, huh?
Right. Or this is a reissue. Sometimes they put these lists together and it's they don't mark it as a second printing, but it is. And but in theory, it's new. But I don't know.
Yeah, because Autumnal's been good. I'd recommend that.
It's so good. That's my favorite right now.
Yeah, it's a great horror book.
Yeah. Now I've read all this Heroes Reborn series. I can't. The purpose of it is to get more books sold.
Sure.
That's what the purpose is, I think. I mean, I don't know. They're putting it out weekly, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have to be real. I have divorced myself so much from comic book Twitter and even Facebook. I haven't heard that they were even doing this. Yeah. This is my first time seeing. I was surprised. I mean, I have made a conscious effort to kind of like separate myself and just do my own shit. I was surprised at how few of the Eisner noms I've even heard of. Yeah.
How about only one more page of new comics in 1 week? But this question, so how long till we move to European large volume sales model? Do you think that's something that could happen?
Yeah, I always have said that I think that it's a problem that people will buy single issues and just stack them up. By the time that they read them, the trade's already out. It's so fast paced that I think that more and more people are going to want to or prefer if these places just went straight to trade. I forget who was doing it. I know that Scout has talked about this. I know that other publishers, Humanoids has mentioned this, that they will do like an issue and then go to trade. That's cool for me. That's that appeases both the collectors and the readers. As far as me, I walk a line with the single issues for Destiny New York. I am reaching out to the audience that still does read single issues because the trades already exist. So that's an audience that I don't want to go away. But at the same time, it isn't the same audience that's been there for years. The audience has changed, and I think that what we don't really realize is that so few people who aren't already reading comics know that comics are still a thing that's modern. Oftentimes, it's happened. I should say oftentimes, at least 3 times, and that's enough. Where I've been traveling to a convention, and someone next to me, either on the plane or in Uber, asks where I'm going, what I do, and when I say that I'm going to a comic convention, like, oh, you're a comedian, and I'm like, I mean, I have a podcast, but nah, dude, I write comics, and they're like Marvel. They still do those. Like they, what we see as modern and normal and part of our everyday lives, not everyone does. Whereas, imagine the same thing for TV. Imagine I worked on fucking on Law and Order. I was a screenwriter in the Law and Order's writer's room. If I was traveling and someone asked what I do, and I say I write for TV, and they said, they still make TV? Crazy person,
Yeah.
That doesn't happen for TV. It doesn't happen for movies. It doesn't happen for books, not even for theater. Those things everyone knows about. Comics, it's more niche than we realize.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it seems to be steering into it more and more. But
that's a whole problem. That's a whole other discussion, is that people seem to be cool with it and cool with continuing to shrink instead of doing something about it, which is a problem.
Well, last page, and there's a lot of manga type things on here. I wanted to say, so if Rumiko Takahashi, who I'm a huge fan of, and we've talked about her before, Mason Ayakoko is my favorite that she's done. This is definitely, though, this is the slice of life, I would say, of a book.
Sure.
But it's so much fun. So it's a fun little book.
Nice. Well, you got that.
Yeah.
You got what was it? Valiant. The Visitor #3 is finally coming out. I think that's Paul Levitz writing that one.
Yeah.
That was a whole thing. They made a big deal about getting Paul Levitz, and then I imagine the pandemic and all that's what slowed it down. But yeah, it's only on #3 now. Like, oh my God. But what else we got here? We got Fuzzy Baseball #4, Paper Cuts, Jim Salicrup, friend of the show.
Yes, that's right.
That's he's great.
You got Cells at Work, which is a show my kids love, but it's you put it on and they trick mom into going like, hey, this is going to teach us about anatomy and viruses and things, because the story is about like the white blood cells and the red blood cells in the human body. But why they like it is because the germs will come in, and then the white blood cells, who are dressed up like kind of military people, will murder the shit out of them with knives and just all this gory stuff. It's hilarious.
Oh my God. But yeah.
Sorry. Of this group, I actually recognize White Widow. That's Jamie Tyndall does at least the covers. I think he created it too. I'm not sure. I actually saw some controversy going on about their Kickstarter recently. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I always hate to see that kind of shit, because I don't even look into it. I'm sure that there's some reason behind everything, but it's just so, it reflects badly on all Kickstarter creators when one campaign has controversy, just because I always hear, and I think I might have talked about this last time too. I'm not 100% sure, but the thing I hear the most is, oh, this Kickstarter has a problem. I'm done with Kickstarter. Dude, imagine IDW was late. I'm done with corporate comics. And it's like, that doesn't fucking happen,
Yeah.
Like, but you blame the smaller creators because a different smaller creator, you didn't have the experience that you wanted. So that does kind of scare me because my business is so entangled in Kickstarter that I do get scared when I see some tension between backers and creators. And in this situation, I didn't even see who was right or wrong. It could be them. It could be the backers. Who fucking knows? I don't know. But the tension between backers and creators does scare me as far as that goes.
Yeah. And the one thing I'd love Kickstarter to do is, somebody mentioned it quite a while ago, is that the search and just sorting of Kickstarter, like, they need to hire some tech people to come in there, because it is tough in many cases to find stuff. Like, they've lost the plot with that.
There have been times where I've tried to look up campaigns like I've backed, and it's difficult.
Yeah, it's rough. What you got to do is you got to search it on Google and then click the link.
Yes,
that's. I mean, you shouldn't have to though, but you do.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. So we mentioned on TV earlier. I'm going to get your take on this too. Everything's getting adapted for TV. There was this whole controversy. You saw the Powerpuff Girls business earlier, right?
I did not, but I'm looking at this picture, and Loki looks damn Super Saiyan 3. Where are his eyebrows?
Yeah, Loki's looking a little sad here for sure.
He's looking low key sad.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good.
Yeah, writer.
Yeah, I did not see the Powerpuff Girls thing though.
No, and so the script leaked, and it was they were trying to be modern with it, but it had like they're trying to leak Bubbles' nude pictures and.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hey man, what?
Yeah, they're older now. So now, like, they're what, teenagers? What are they, Joe? They're like, or
I guess they're late teens, early 20s now or something. I guess.
Hopefully, fucking early 20s. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're and then they kind of, there's this weird side plot where Buttercup, I think, was angry at the cartoon because they whitewashed her because they cast a black woman in the role, and so they're kind of making reference that the cartoon was racist. Like, it's a very confusing, screwed up CW plot.
Dude, I'm stuck on what you said before. Who the fuck wrote this? Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, that's how it strikes. Yeah, it was funny because
Gerard Jones.
It made people angry, but it made everyone angry. Like, this wasn't like the one side was angry and the other side was like everybody was like, this sucks. It's it was terrible. Yeah. What do you think that, because you mentioned, like, nobody would come and say they still make TV shows, but you do see it with comics. Is all these TV adaptions, is this helpful, do you think, or is it a way, like, what do you make of any of this?
I think it's too much. I think that I think it's too much of one thing. Like, does every DC series need 5 TV shows? Get the fuck out of here, dude. It's like, it's too much superhero stuff. It's way too much. It's like, there's, it's like, listen, I love Chinese food, obviously. Fucking look at me, right? Yeah. But if I have Chinese food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm cool for like a few days. But if the other options begin to dwindle, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm like kind of getting tired of fucking sweet and sour chicken. How about some meatballs? Like, it's, we're seeing nothing but superhero. Like, what, HBO is doing superhero content. Make fucking more Sopranos. Make more shows like that.
Sure.
That should be the network where prestige writers who have proven themselves make their dream project. Where's the new 6 Feet Under? I feel like we haven't seen like a really unique HBO show since like maybe Insecure, like or Barry. Like,
I don't know. Great,
I don't know.
But yeah, no, instead of that, what if we resurrect Adventure Time?
Oh, yeah. It's like, let things die. Like, let things die.
It's like we didn't even get a chance to miss Adventure Time before they were like, oh, new Adventure Time. Like,
yeah, and that kind of ruins the beauty of comics in some ways too, because I remember, there was a time where cult TV ended and got new life in comics.
Yeah.
Supernatural, I mean, that was still going on, but like Buffy, Angel, there was talk of a Veronica Mars show as a comic, but they instead brought it back as a Hulu show and killed one of the only two characters that everyone gives a fuck about. It's like they were better off ending and just having it be that thing that someone yearns for. Because, like, I mean, dude, it's like this. It's like you miss this person that you were in love with as a kid. You idealize the relationship. When you meet them as an adult, maybe that person is disappointing as fuck.
Sure, and maybe they're leaking nudes of each other. So that's
the problem. But I like
this idea. I think Disney should take the horror IP and do Tales from the Crypt with some of the Marvel horror stuff. Sure,
they should do that. HBO, I would rather see HBO Max if you're gonna mine DC properties because you own it. Bring back like House of Mystery and just do like horror shit.
Yeah, something unique.
Yeah, that would be great. But now instead, they put out so much Teen Titans stuff. I can't get a good Teen Titans comic or a good Teen Titans show.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
They've ruined everything. It's
yeah.
I liked
it's too much.
I liked Mare of Easttown. I was very reluctant because of this reason. I mean, I'm burnt out with a lot of these shows, so it's like gritty cop drama. But that was a solid show where I like that show went boldly forward with everyone is unhappy and sucks.
That's great though. But what isn't great is again, all of these adaptations, it all sucks. I mean, I love Sweet Tooth. That is a comic I've read multiple times. I've lent it to people. The show came out. I still haven't watched it.
That one, I feel, it looks good. I'll probably watch that. That's much more in the line of what I would see versus like if they did an adaptation of Lemire's like Swamp Thing run.
God, no.
Like, dude, like I don't want to see any more superhero stuff. I enjoy, I love going to the movies and seeing a Marvel movie. I love it. I think it's great at the pace it comes out. But if you go to watch TV and everything's the same shit, it's like I'm gonna end up not wanting to see any more of this. They
blow everything up. No, for sure. People said so. Somebody said Loki. They're saying he's gender fluid. I think this is where some stuff's getting mixed up, but I don't know how you wade into this. I mean, like he shows up as a woman sometimes and a man sometimes because he's a god and he can change his form, and he changes his form all the time. I don't know. I don't know that it's much more complicated than that, but maybe it is.
That's what I would interpret it as too, because he had for the entirety, or at least maybe the first 2/3 of the JMS run. You had Loki as a woman, So I'm pretty sure that's what that's referring to.
Yeah, I don't think it's more than that, but definitely some people will make it a lot more than that for no reason.
It's pulled from the mythology, like the actual mythology of Loki, and I mean it's fine. I don't care if they're gender fluid. It doesn't matter.
I think in some Thor comics they've established that Loki's had sex with aliens that have completely genders we haven't thought of yet. So I mean, because he's a god and he does whatever he wants.
Yeah, it's not a human. Has been turned into a woman. Has been turned into a little boy.
Yeah.
After he was reborn during Kieran Gillen's run, which is probably my favorite Thor-related thing since then. In the comics, at least.
I guess he's gender fluid. I mean, in the most literal definition of that, he's all these. He shifts around to whatever he wants.
That show though, did you guys watch that first episode?
I did. Did you see it?
I have not yet seen it. No, but I mean, I will, but to be 100% real, I did a podcast. My friend hosts this Marvel TV show podcast, and she had just done WandaVision. So I did episode 7 of WandaVision with her and just talked about it. So that 2 days I rushed through WandaVision and I burned myself out. So I haven't seen anything Marvel since then. I definitely will catch up though on the end of WandaVision and Falcon and then Loki for sure. But Loki's probably the one that I'm most excited for.
Oh man, you haven't finished WandaVision.
No.
All right. So you want to be spoiled that there's a big CGI fight.
yeah.
But it turns out that Wanda was Vision the whole time.
Shit.
But yeah, the thing that kills me with Loki, this is non-spoilery.
Okay.
But the thing that kills me with that show is they keep using like flashbacks.
Yeah.
And a lot of that shit's a decade old. And when you have Tom Hiddleston sitting right the fuck there, and then you show him 10 years younger, it's like, like if they didn't show that shit, I wouldn't notice that. But you're literally making me look at like Tom Hiddleston 10 years younger, looking at like himself almost in these like flashbacks, and you're like, oh damn, he does look older. And it's like, that's a bad choice.
The continuity of the show is that he's from that time because he's been plucked out from 10 years ago. And so he's looking at himself from like yesterday. And it's tough. This is where HD TVs have kind of let us down now, because you see too much. You're like, go back to 720. And
and we get used to seeing too much too. Because I remember when I first saw, my first Blu-ray ever. This is so fucking funny. It was I Love You Man with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. And my friend put it on, and I was like, God damn, it's too much. It's too crisp, too clear. I didn't like it. But now that's what we all expect. We've been really spoiled by how clear everything is, that things that were normal like 10 years ago, we look at it now and it almost feels as if our glasses are fogged up.
No, for sure. It's a weird thing. Hey, Joe, Chuck Gibson, somebody I'd like to work with, actually. He asks, and I think you joined the chat late, so you missed. Joe, are you working on any comic work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm technically not working on Becstar at this point because we finished the 5 issues, but I wrapped the 3rd issue of an unannounced project yesterday. I, sent it to the publisher and everything, so I'm excited about that. Obviously, the Deadbeats 2 is on Kickstarter. I am doing page breakdowns on another thing that will hopefully be crowdfunded at some point soon. I'm waiting to hear back on a pitch. I'm actively pitching and doing all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm editing a graphic novel that's unannounced. I might be editing 2 unannounced graphic novels. And then I had a call about editing a 3rd graphic novel yesterday with Norman Mailer's son, John Buffalo, who was interested in having me potentially edit something there. So yeah, I'm working on stuff. I also produce web comics. I'm in the middle of stuff like that right now. I might be producing a new Brian Clevenger comic. I'm a big fan of his work. I used to come home from high school and read 8-Bit Theater, so it'd be great to get to work with him. So yeah, I am keeping busy in comics.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome, and hopefully something with me here pretty soon.
Yeah, sure. We should. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Maybe something.
Yeah,
maybe something. I don't know the answer to this question. Real quick, we move on to it. But did they make or setting up to make Tim Drake gay in recent Batman comics? I don't think so. Isn't he dating? He's dating Spoiler, isn't he? Or
he was, but they're doing something.
What was it?
I know someone shared like panels where it looked like Tim Drake was waiting to go on a date with a guy. So maybe he's bi or something, but like, but at this point, they like this is what fucking kills me about this stuff. I'm gonna go Pat Shand on y'all, but no,
this up while you talk. This is perfect.
But this is the thing that kills me with people that are pushing things like I'm phrasing this wrong, but when people are like championing, diversifying the line and doing this and that, way too often it comes off like, well, we ran out of ideas, so what if we made him gay? I don't know. And that's not what I want. I don't think a lot of people want representation that's like, we ran out of ideas, so like, I don't know how to make him interesting. Make him date a guy, I guess. I don't know. That's the thing that sucks. And it's tough because you get like there are then contingents of people who would hate that anyway, who don't want queer characters. But then there's a lot of very valid criticism of like, are you just trying to do this to make the character interesting? Because fuck you, you know what I mean? Like I don't like that, but something akin to that I think makes sense is the new Aquaman. Making it Aqualad, because that at least is all right. We've tried everything to make Arthur Curry interesting. We're going to have a new guy be Aquaman and see how that's going to go. That I think makes more sense. But like when they do that stuff, like again, like what they did with Iceman, where it felt very meticulous what Bendis did in terms of like, well, let me take a character who's like important, but not too important, and do that, So yeah, it's a long, complicated sort of thing that is frustrating and difficult to talk about. And places like Twitter, for example, would be a horrible place to have a conversation like this.
Yeah, I feel like someone on Twitter could definitely take what you said and like twist it to what you don't mean, especially if they don't even fucking know who you are, it's lame. It's that's why I feel like I love podcasts like this where you could really, state your opinion and refuse to be taken out of context.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just go for as long as you want.
Yeah. I hate the because most people aren't on the level when they're arguing with you over this stuff anyway. Because I mean, it's you're not making a big controversial point. Anyway, it's all ridiculous. So, Pat, we do this bit. I've got some panels. It's your call. This isn't one of them. It's just I get sillier and sillier things. The idea is intentional or not. So the idea is like, was a writer or the artist or the letter or somebody, were they having some fun at somebody else's expense, like to kind of put something up? And this obviously is still that's just awkwardly placed where Batman is not.
Well, I mean, if you look, right?
Yeah.
Look at the depth of the under-titty shadow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
He's lifting that titty up. Okay. That is a clear and present grab.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You're calling intentional. You're right. The shadowing is because they underlined one of the fingers there with a lighter color there.
I mean, dude, I worked for Zenescope for years. If anyone knows drawn titties, it's your boy. Okay, that titty is lifted up. The thumb is under the breast. It's happening.
Yeah. There you go. In-depth analysis from Pat Chan. Excellent. Yeah. Batman got to second base. Confirmed. Okay, so here we go. So here's our first one. This is I don't know if you remember this issue. This was a very special issue of Spider-Man. Do you remember this?
No, but just the hair, dude,
Yeah. This was an odd one that people have kind of memory hold. And I'm curious, do you remember this, Joe? This is where basically Peter had a uncle or friend or older friend who was, come on. He's basically trying to get Peter to take off his clothes. It's weird.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
That's Spider-Man, right?
This is Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker as a kid. This is a flashback where he was remembering the fact that he had this older friend who gave him some porn. And you can see in the magazine Girly. And Peter looks kind of alarmed. This is clearly his first adult magazine. And his buddy is kind of leaning over and going, come on, Einstein, let's conduct a little experiment of our own. Let's see if we can touch each other like the people in that magazine.
No fucking way, dude.
This is Spider-Man. This is...
Oh!
What? Yeah.
Who the fuck wrote this?
I will have to. We'll have to go look up. I stumbled across this earlier today. I had completely forgotten this existed, but it's this flashback is being told because Spider-Man is going to run into a kid who's been molested or something. He's like, it happened to me too, and then he tells this story. And you're like, what?
How much of a pedophile name is Skip? You know,
just. It is. This is an act. This is not me relettering stuff. This was a real thing. It kind of puts that whole "is one more day the worst thing that happened to Spider-Man" in perspective.
No,
it makes it make sense why you want it. Like let's just erase the whole thing. Let's just.
It does. It does put that in some context. When Mephisto's offering you this deal, and you're like, "Wait, you can erase other things too?" Yeah, I just get rid of all this. So
yeah, that'd be good.
This is why you have a crisis. All right, so this was this is clearly intentional, right?
Clearly intentional. I mean, the guy came over wearing fucking purple pants. Like what?
Yes.
The whole getup, his expression in panel 1, pedophile.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
100%.
This is egregious.
Yeah, it's this is terrible. Okay, here's something a little further back.
What the
fuck? So Superman is basically showing off here, and I believe that's for the president. The
president,
is that Eisenhower?
That's Eisenhower, I believe.
Okay.
So he's like, "Hey, look what I can do with this pipe," which is always, Superman, But Eisenhower decides to just bend Superman over his knee, spank him, and Superman's like, "I love it." What?
I'm trying to think like what even the joke is.
The joke is Spider-Man loves it, or Superman loves it, I guess.
I mean,
I made it weird this week.
This seems as if. I mean, I have no fucking words, dude. I'm 50 years old, but you're still taking orders from me. It doesn't even. You know what's funny? It seems like it was written Marvel style. Like the artist just went off the reservation, drew this shit, and the writer's like, "What the fuck am I gonna do with this?"
Yeah, it's all odd. And it's Jeff Thornton. Hello, Jeff. It's always good. We gotta get you back on again to embarrass you with Dynamite covers. But the Superman had a lot of spanking in it, like a remarkable. Like you go back, you look through the '60s, and there was a remarkable amount of either Superman or Lois is getting spanked. Superman's dad as a giant is spanking him. There's just a tremendous amount of spanking.
That's got to be Mort Weitzinger, right? Because I feel like under his reign, you had that, and you also had. Just superheroes were constantly being turned into toddlers.
Yeah. There was stuff going on in that office. Love that. Yeah. Okay. How about Superman Red Bum?
Nice. Yeah, this right here. This shit is how you create a fan base obsessed with red underwear. Still. When the red trunks came back, trending, everything, people give so much of a fuck. This kind of shit is how people become obsessed because this is weirdo shit right here.
This is weird. It's just when next time somebody's like, I hate the comics today. They got too political. You're like, oh yeah, sure. And you show them this stuff. And it's like,
not as political as Eisenhower spanking Superman.
This is like a Sunstone prequel.
Yeah.
Although it's a shame that Adlai Stevenson never got to spank Superman.
That's true. This one is I've seen this panel a million times and it always cracks me up. This was the one where I think the letterer or the writer wrote it in such a way to make an extra little joke, and so the villain is saying, not only are you doomed, but so is everyone else you've touched. And with thought bubbles, everybody's thinking like, the Atom's like, oh, Jean Loring. And Flash, like, I gave Iris West a kiss of death, and Green Hal's like Carol Ferris in deadly danger, and Batman, who looks very alarmed, more alarmed than the rest of them, is like, Robin, what have I done to you?
All right. Well, you know what though? All right, I am gonna say, and this might be a hot take. I think that, and it's bad that it is, but this I feel is unintentional.
Okay, there you go.
I do.
That's fair. I mean, it's, Batman at that time, I feel, had a very like Michael Jackson-y relationship with Robin, where it's like, look, we don't do anything. We just like sleep in the same bed and we wear weird costumes together. You gotta back off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not great.
It's not great. Yeah, it is. I mean, back in the time this is in, I'm sure people didn't look at it the same way, but now it's, it's weird.
Maybe we have a crisis event to retcon this, because they
just get rid of all of it, dude.
Keep coming up with different like crises to like change very like increasingly minor things in their timelines. So, well, I mean, obviously this is already erased, but like, hey, maybe it was
the Omniverse. It all counts now.
Yeah, well, maybe in that case he's talking about Stephanie Brown or Carrie Kelly.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Which is also like kind of gross, but still.
Yeah, because I think like Carrie Kelly was like 12 or something, right?
Yeah, but that was like towards the end of life on Earth or whatever. So fuck it.
Yeah,
who cares? And then Stephanie Brown. I mean, he just did it to get back at Cluemaster. But,
City of Bruce. Yeah. I think this is an interesting take. So lack of spanking may be the reason why Superman sales are down. They should put this up. Superman would have given her. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Lots of.
Whoa.
You went dark there, Kiefer.
Jesus Christ.
It was all good in you.
Intentional.
Intentional is right. I also found this. We do this is not intentional. We only have 3, but here's letters page. The letters page is a source of some great comedy. So I love this one here, which is recently I sent you a letter suggesting that Supergirl would be the most likely candidate to marry Superman, and you answered that she is too young. I like how the DC answered she was too young as opposed to related. But okay. This is absurd. She is older physically and mentally than any regular human. She is pretty and goes to Superman on missions anytime she wants to. Also being invulnerable, it would be difficult for Superman's enemies to harm her. So why not have a wedding? He's from Alabama.
This guy, he's very intense about it. And this kind of shit is how fan fiction is born.
Yeah. And but speaking of that, this is a panel again from a real Superman book. And what always strikes me here is Supergirl saying, "I have a confession to make. I wanted to arrange a happy marriage for you. I failed both times." And Superman's going, "Well, if I ever did marry, it would be to someone super lovable like you." Oh, we can't. I love this line because it's almost like he's trying to talk himself into it. We can't marry because we're cousins. Though cousins can marry in certain countries here on Earth.
Oh, wow.
We're both from the planet Krypton, where the marriage of cousins was unlawful. But he's like, stroking her chin there. Superman's like trying to, he's thinking about it.
Dude, I mean, all the blame I put on Bruce Cutler is waived. This is in the fucking books.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is very Arrested Development.
Yeah. I do like we can't marry. Unless, the writer is projecting in this panel. I think so too.
Yeah, the writer for sure had a big fucking boner when he was writing.
Oh, absolutely.
That's so gross, dude. What?
Our love is real.
Yeah, our love is.
Imagine that is in a comic today. That writer would be canceled day of.
You would think. Well, yeah, probably. It's
God.
Although Lois is my main squeeze, you're a blonde hottie. Yeah. Anyway,
well, then he tried to cuckold Lightning Lad.
Yeah,
he's done a lot of. Superman's a bit awkward.
Superman was a huge dick for many years.
This comment is so fucking funny from Duck Island help step Superman I'm stuck. That is so funny.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, dude, that's so fucking funny.
Yeah, this was back then. As somebody pointed out, this was back. They did have that storyline with Hal Jordan dating the 14-year-old back in the day.
Oh my god.
So DC was weird.
Yeah, you forget what was acceptable very recently, and more than that, we accept what was we forget what was acceptable years ago. Like maybe this kind of shit was more normal in stories years ago. I don't know, but definitely from like a now perspective, like to be real, when people say things like, we've evolved past the existence of a show like blank, and it's a show that I grew up loving. My thought is not, fuck no, we haven't. That stands up today.
Yes.
But maybe someone is, old as hell, and is hearing us now, and they're thinking, there was more context. But to me, as someone who's alive right now and so fucking young, I see that and I'm like, no, there's no context that can be added to that. That's just
it's yeah, no, I mean, I think the context was he wanted to have sex with her.
So. That's what I'm thinking too, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I thought age of consent in Japan was 14, right?
Manga is overtaking. No. Well, I mean, age of consent is lower, but acceptance is not. Like it is. I mean, that's the stuff you jerk off to in your hotel room. That's not what you do in real life. That'd be crazy.
Sure. Well, I mean, you got to, because the porn there, you can't show penetration or whatever, right? It's like a whole weird thing.
They would replace genitalia with like fruit, but not the fruit.
But yeah, but that's how you get, tentacle stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I've not that I've ever seen even one single porn, right? But it's like you see a pixelated dick in sex acts, and it's like, hey, guess what? Everyone knows,
Yeah.
And that's why the tentacles. That's genius.
Yeah,
I never got that.
By the way, yes, Wes is doing Comic Aficionados. I think I'm on. Are you on, Joe?
Yeah, we're both on tomorrow, so we'll
okay,
see. I'm gonna probably read some comics tonight I don't like, so I can talk about them tomorrow.
That sounds like a great time. Yeah, the Hal Jordan storyline, where it is weird because he does seem to recognize that, and somebody's saying she was 13, not 14. That, he's like, he does. There is dialogue that says, "I don't want to be seen as a child molester." It's like,
wait, hold on. Before I have that reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know much about superheroes from this time. Spider-Man, I assume teenager. What age was Hal Jordan?
He'd have to be at the very young. I mean, yeah, he had the gray streaks in there. He'd have to be late 20s at the earliest.
All right.
Yeah, because he was already well established in the Air Force, though.
Yeah, he had had a long military career.
The same reaction I had is applicable. That is crazy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I want to make sure that he wasn't like 15, 16 years old, But if he's in his 20s, I mean, especially with gray, the balls to have gray hair and do that shit in the comic. Get out of here, dude.
Well, and people give Jeff crap for his comments about Hal Jordan, but I mean, he was hitting on a 13-year-old.
It's just true.
Jeff's not in the wrong. Good. Anyway, okay.
That's crazy.
We have some comics. We can just keep talking about kind of whatever. I put up some comics. These are comics that came out, during this day or this week in previous years. So a lot of kind of cool stuff. But it's just a place for us to look at some cool covers and things and keep chatting. I think I don't know. Pat, as we're showing you all this stuff, it strikes me that you took a lot of crap at for the Xenoscope covers, but meanwhile this shit's going on.
Yeah, I think that Zenoscope puts out comics that are much different than people think. They have a wide range: horror, superhero, fantasy. And what's funny is that the big companies all do the same shit and they don't get the same reaction. Sometimes they do, because that isn't entirely fair. I did have the example of the Milo Manara Spider-Woman cover.
Yep.
That cover, got fucking railed. Horrible choice of words, but it did. Twitter will still talk about it. So they do get it sometimes, but I do feel that there is a gap in the way that people react to Zenescope versus other publishers, and it's not fair. I don't think it's fair.
Hey, but
very unfair. Yes,
I gotta follow up with that because what was it? This has got to be like about a year ago. What was it? I'm blanking on who it was at Zenescope who had tweeted like, "Oh, looking for writers and artists."
Ralph,
and Ralph, I thought it was Ralph, but I was like, "It's Ralph or it's Joe?" But yeah, so Ralph tweets this, and not fucking with you here, and Pat back me up on this is like the amount of people who like within the past week of that before that tweet hit were shitting on Zenescope, who slid into those replies being like, "Oh, please hire me for writing or doing art, please."
There you go.
It was like, fuck all you people.
Very perceptive. Very perceptive. And that was a public display of what I had spent a while doing is that I would, and this is like kind of like maybe a bit conniving on my part, but I did, I mentioned before, I had a chip on my shoulder and wanted to prove people wrong. And my thought was that comics people were different than the perception that they were giving off. And what would happen is this. I would go to a convention with Zenescope and I'd be excited to booth, to sell the books, to sign books, all that shit. And then what I would do, and this was a mistake, right? While there, I would want to market for them. So I would term search Zenescope on Twitter, and I would see people, other creators at the show, say something negative. So in my head, I'm like, all right, so I'm going to bookmark that. One day, I'm going to reach out and see if they want to write for Zenescope. In every situation, the answer was yes, and they would backlog and delete the old tweets. Every situation.
Jesus.
It's it's like you guys are fucking bitches, and that's real. That's real. Because every time, every single time, the same thing played out, and that's how it played out when Ralph posted to Twitter. In that, people are much. The reason that they're posting negative things about companies is because they feel that they're going to get Twitter traction. People feel that if they say a negative thing about a cover like this, they'll get traction from this audience, which will boost them and get them seen by other publishers who are more like-minded. The truth is they don't want justice. They want the gig. So when the gig comes from the people they were tweeting about, the tweets disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's amazing how many things magically vanish after these outrages, and people get hung up. But you go back and look, and it's absolutely attention, and I hate it, and I wish more people would. And it's not punish people for it, but just you gotta just ignore this stuff and stop giving it the traction it gets.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. It's hard to. I think that the best thing that a writer could do, and an artist too, but I really do think that it's more uniquely a writer's problem that, like the artist, if they're writing their own thing, this is their problem too. But I think that since a writer, they're seeing other writers, media writers review their writing, I think it is more uniquely a writer's problem. I think that writers have to stop looking for information about themselves, looking for reviews. And that's part of the hard thing is that these publishers, they want you to have well-reviewed books. They want you to be on Comic Book Roundup, even though, let's keep it 100% real. No one reads those reviews except the people who played a part in the book. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. So, but comics publishers want you to be reviewed on there. So you have to, in some ways, at least retweet reviews here and there, and then you have to look to make sure that they're not saying anything negative about your collaborators when you retweet.
That's too much work.
It's so much work, because they often are, And what I find is like it does stick in your head. Like what I try to tell myself though is like, for example, I recently read a review that I feel didn't understand Breathless. Like they had this one comment where it's like, oh, this character is meant to be this, but doesn't do it well. And my internal response was, but that character was never meant to do that shit. That's you putting that idea onto the character, and she doesn't do that because she wasn't meant to do that. That's what you thought. Yeah. You know? So, but I have to tell myself, oh, that person doesn't matter because they don't get it. The book was written for the people who get it, and that is something that I wish I could do more, and I wish I could do so much less of the marketing, because the marketing is what leads me to read that kind of shit.
Yeah. I can't agree with you more. That was. I have to draw your attention to Conan fighting a giant one-eyed serpent.
I mean, yeah, that's what you do.
Intentional. Yeah,
that's intentional. Yeah.
That's intentional.
Yeah. Is this serpent like spitting out of a hole in its head, or what is that?
It looks to be, what is going on here? No,
little rocks are hitting.
Rocks are falling on its head. Yeah.
That looks like some dick butter, you know?
No, that one-eyed snake's just trying to get its rocks off, you know?
That's right. We also have the Sandman's worst costume ever.
Yeah, they really tried to make that costume a thing for years.
Yeah.
What's the hair thing?
That's what I don't get. Like, why did the hair stripe down the middle? Like, what was the...
It's like a boob window for hair.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Oh no, I'm never gonna forget that reference now.
No.
Yeah. This Raiders of the Lost Ark comic was pretty awesome, though. I remember getting this as a kid, and it
looked cool.
What was it? Ditko used to do some of the Indiana Jones comics.
I believe so. Yeah. And you can't see it real well there, but this is the Incredible Hulk fighting Avalanche and Landslide. And Landslide had this weird KKK-looking uniform.
That's not good.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
He had like a brown KKK helmet thing.
Yeah, that's a bad plan there.
No one's going to be sympathetic to your cause in that outfit.
No, probably not. No. What's interesting here for me is that, I was never the biggest fan of super vintage comics, but looking back here, it's interesting to see what art styles feel dated and which don't.
Yeah.
So the Raiders here, I feel like that could be published as a pulp comic today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you could put that right out.
Yeah. Whereas the coloring in these is just so old school.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. And, this is actually more modern here. This is jumping a couple decades, but, that time when IDW had Transformers and it was their top-selling comic of everything that came out during the week.
Whoa, that looks super different from what I picture as an IDW Transformers book.
It's crazy though, because they were selling so well at that time. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, they were the number one comic for a long time, or many months rather, I guess.
Who's that? Frank Cho with the Spider-Man black hat?
No, I don't think this is Cho. I think it's the Dodson. I think it's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that works. Yeah. And then
Capullo Spawn.
Yeah. Capullo Spawn and
that's Frank
Quitely. Yeah. New X-Men, which again, it's baffling how much people throw uncritical praise at that book, but
I'm
a Grant Morrison mark. And yeah, I mean, New X-Men, there's some really weird stuff that happens in that book. And completely nonsensical stuff that happens. There is no reason that the whole thing with Magneto being Zorn, like, it makes no sense if you read it.
It was a very weird twist, and he's right. It's Dreamwave, by the way, not IDW. I was completely off. That was Dreamwave, of course. So that
makes I see it. Yeah,
the logo. I see. I mean, the logo was so close. The New X-Men. I mean, I can't help but agree. I read the first trade, and I remember it felt experimental for no reason, and it had a huge tonal shift. But halfway through, it shifts to the calendar style, and you have this Wolverine story, And I was just reading, and I was like, actually, you know what, Grant Morrison, I don't give a fuck about this story. So I was out. I was out.
Yeah, no, it's weird. We ended up doing a retrospective of Astonishing and New X-Men last year. And, Astonishing, like we were a bit critical on that. We did that one first, but then we read New X-Men and then we were like, oh, you know what? I think Astonishing works better.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think for sure it does. It has its problems. Like the I mean, I'm not sure what you guys said, but the Danger arc to me, don't do it.
Not that's kind of where we landed on. But yeah, it was very like it's odd how accessible it is.
Hold on 1 second, guys. I mean, you keep going, but I have to go check something.
Oh yeah, no problem.
But yeah, it was so weird how accessible Astonishing was. But like, there's a way you could describe it to someone where they would just be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And it's still accessible.
I agree. Hey, I'm thank you for bringing this up. Actually, I did this video yesterday or the day before. I must not have explained it. Well, I'll have to go back and listen to it. But it's seemed to confuse a lot of people or what was going on here. But the point of that was just that the editors play a role in the book. Not that the writer is excused from any bad writing, but just that the editor also plays a role in it. And so sometimes, and Joe and I have talked about this before, people are like, screw Bendis for this or whatever it happens to be. And what you don't know, and may or may not be the case, not every time, is that one, editors may have basically handed the writer like, this is what I want you to do. Or, or the editors anyway, Joe, talked about this before.
No, but yeah, that's the thing. All the people that are, I know it's common, at least on YouTube and some other places, for people to be really upset about Bendis on Superman and all that. But it's not one of those things where it's like, whoa, Bendis like broke into our offices and wrote all our Superman comics. I guess we got to publish them. It's like, no, you guys, you set all this up. You let this happen. No one forced you to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't absolve it's not absolving, but I mean, it doesn't mean like if you didn't like a book that the writer's off scot-free. It just means like it's not a one person failure. It's a team effort.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Nick Spencer was handed the book that gets this criticism,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's a wide range, right?
Yeah, he could have been.
Anyway, speaking of iconic covers, this X-Men with Paul Smith, who, Joe, you recently pointed out that you can get a commission for him for relatively cheap.
You can get a commission of one or two characters from Paul Smith, who's considered a legendary artist that worked with Chris Claremont on X-Men in the 80s, for like $1,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, considering like and when you think about it that way, and you think about these artists who, they're not going to be here forever, they're not going to have their commissions open forever and stuff like that, and it's cover quality commission, that's really good. Paul Smith is on Twitter. Like, go find him, and if you want a commission, But then, like, you could get a figure commission from like Bill Loebs for like $200. Like, I gotta hit him up because I think I want a Space Wonder Woman from him.
Yeah,
and but yeah, I mean, this is is that Avengers? Is that a Roger Stern, or that's a little before Roger Stern?
This is 235, so I think this would be before Roger Stern,
but only by like.
Couple issues.
Yeah, not by much. And then what do we got here? You got the Hulk. Is that a Bill Mantlo Hulk?
I do not know. This was 287. Well,
287. I mean, it's that area before Peter
Wilson
David.
And Milgram. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's good stuff.
I don't know.
This is, I think, some of the problems. Just going to rant briefly. Is kind of, I think, to get to some of what Pat was saying about, like, superheroes just being like, we're inundated, it's enough. Like, I think once you got to the 80s with these publishers, a lot of the stories by then, you started getting to the like, okay, we're going to do either some of that deconstruction or we're going to do some of that. Let's take it more seriously, or we're going to, you were touching on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we never stopped that. And now we're like 30, almost 40 years out from that. In some cases, 40 years out from that. And it's still the same kind of tone and all that. And it makes it difficult to give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very celebrated when a unique concept comes out because it's so rare. It does feel, when you've been a comics fan for decades and you're primarily reading Marvel and DC, I imagine that either you're someone who loves it, you just love what comes to you, or as tastes change, as time changes, and as stories repeat and repeat, you're gonna get tired of it. Like, I think that an industry-wide problem is that people are always going to get tired of these things, but at the same time, other people will be pissed off about changes. It's rough.
No, it is tough, but on the bright side here, we got the Moby Dick in space. I love that story.
That looks pretty cool, though, huh?
Yeah,
that's the front and back cover, the whole thing there. That was, and Superman's not trying to fuck Supergirl, so there's it's good comic.
I love the Legion of Superheroes so fucking much. I mean,
I mean, I was just debating on whether or not I should say it, but it looks like the whale is trying to eat his ass, though.
A little bit.
But so there's no spanking, but I did just, I decided to just fucking say it. But okay, sorry, go on, man.
I love it. I like how Cyborg no more, and they've also taken off most of his clothes too. So it's what you do. He looks very happy.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he's ripped.
That's still a good, fairly early point in type, but like, I don't know, like. Crisis kind of really fucked with some golden gooses they had, like Titans.
Yeah. Oh, it really did. Yeah, there were some comics that were on a pretty good momentum track that went off the rails at that point.
Yeah. It's weird. Who'd have thought that DC would have a long legacy of fucking themselves out of high-selling comics? It's mind-boggling. It's like Titans and Legion were rocking it, and then they were like, what if we tanked our line?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess that's a weird way to go, but all right.
It's a DC tradition there.
It is.
And it becomes hard to get these titles back to where they were, too, because they keep trying.
They never have come back.
It doesn't work,
It's like they sacrificed really high sales on Titans and Legion to get better sales on books like Batman and Superman, but not better than the Legion and Titan sales. It's so stupid. It's weird, but initially Superman with Byrne did really well, and that's why we got that weird, stupid Ruby Spears Superman cartoon that no one talks about.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
It came out like Ruby Spears did a bunch of like weird animations. I think they also did Dink the Dinosaur, which I watched as a kid. But
Jesus.
But yeah, right. But Ruby Spears produced a bunch of weird cartoons, including this like Superman cartoon in like I want to say it was like 87. It had like 13 episodes, and
this rings a bell to me. Yeah,
it's just weird shit, and but that was all because of the Byrne Superman.
Yep. Now this was Roger Stern on the Avengers here at this point.
Yes.
And this is Claremont, John Romita Jr. on X-Men. This is a great issue of Rogue. This was when Rogue was pretty dangerous. This is some good stuff.
Yeah. No. There used to be some interesting stuff that happened in the X-Men, but no more.
Yeah. Oh. Here's Morrison, Batman, and Robin. This is more recent stuff, but this was the debut of World War Hulk, which we are getting you were talking about events repeating. We're getting World War Hulk 2 or World War She-Hulk in the fall. So
okay.
Yeah, that's back.
I mean, looking at these, this is more the era where I was intensely reading comics.
Yeah.
I mean, Cap during the era, just stellar stuff there.
How much? So, if this was where you're reading everything, you remember Civil War coming out then, certainly, in the tie-ins and everything else. I think there are people who complained about Civil War, the comic, but I mean, you remember what it was like. That event sold everything out, all the crossovers. Like, it was a beast.
It was huge. My dad was talking about comics, and he doesn't give a fuck, He was like, I heard they killed Captain America, and he thought it was like some like liberal conspiracy, But yeah, dude, like that era was cool. And Civil War, that's one thing that's interesting to me. People during that era always talk about how much of an asshole Tony Stark is, how wrong he was. But like, I mean, if that book came out now, that would be not a Patriot Act analogy, but that's like the perfect gun control analogy. And Tony Stark is so fucking obviously right,
Yeah, there you go. That's the big debate. I've seen people passionately. This was one of my favorite arguments in the shop was the Tony Stark is right, Captain America is right. Kind of this bad, like the people who really dug in on those. But those arguments were wonderful. I mean,
it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, nobody left as a white supremacist in that argument. It was all
no careers lost, nothing,
Yeah, we were just having a good time.
Yeah,
and Marvel milked the shit out of that thing.
They did, and to their credit, and if we ever got the chance to talk to someone like Tom Brevoort, which would be great, any day. The one thing about Civil War that I think Marvel should get a lot of credit for is the Herculean task to, outside of, I really think it was only a couple of comics, everything came out in sync. And we're talking like dozens and dozens, if not well over 100 comics coming out.
Very well planned.
Yeah, like that's, I mean, that's the kind of thing that even like, you got a hiccup at the printer and you don't get that kind of timing. So like that more than I think almost any event they've ever done is really was just handled masterfully.
Yeah, it was the perfect event, so much so that they've been trying to recreate it three times a year ever since then.
Yes.
And it's like, hey, bro, that worked because it was the thing of the time. You can't just replicate that. And you know what, though? I will say, for a while, I think Bendis did a great job replicating it for a while.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion did well.
The end of it, where I'll never understand in Secret Invasion, right? Where the entire story, it's happening in the moment, epic battle. The last issue is a recap narration dialogue from Luke Cage. Here's how we won. It's like, you didn't even know you won yet,
I hate that. Bendis does that a lot, where he'll get some momentum going in a story, and then it's like, and now we're going to switch to a reality TV show confessionals type retelling.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
yeah.
Hey, just keep going from what you were doing, But then what came next with Siege, I thought was very good. It was much more concise. It was real good.
I agree. Yeah.
But then when Bendis, Bendis was almost a singular voice for the post-Civil War events. And then, you would see like Matt Fraction came on, did Fear Itself, Bendis, and then everyone at the same time did Avengers versus X-Men. And then every year, different writers writing the event. It's like, it's not the same,
Yeah. No, they killed it. And somebody in the chat, I liked Civil War honestly on two fronts. As a retailer at the time, I like that event. That was wonderful.
Sure,
like they could just repeat that every year. That would be wonderful. But But I thought it was fine. I mean, there's things to joke about, like putting Goliath into a giant ass grave for no apparent reason was
that was so fucking funny, guys. Like reread that and you're just like, you got this gigantic corpse and you're digging this giant grave. It's hilarious. Like
it really is.
You know, like I wish. It's one of those things that, like, I guarantee just having an idea of the kind of person that Mark Miller is, that was totally written to be like kind of like hilarious.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah. That was intentional, as they say.
You know, I feel like the artist didn't quite translate the humor.
No.
Like, which was the problem. But like overall, like you're reading it and you're like, this is fucking funny.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah. I'm curious, the Invincible sales. I think the Invincible sales will continue when they restock. They will regain some momentum. But I also think Invincible's got, like Walking Dead, it's kind of a sucker bet a little bit. When they do season 2, season 3, the sales are going to spike for each season when they put them out. And I think they'll spike higher, which is what you saw for the trades for Walking Dead. You saw the new season would come out and we just see this thing. I mean, Invincible is going to sell a shit ton of comics at this point for a while. I don't know. What do you guys? Did you watch Invincible by any chance, Pat?
I'll be 100% real. I watched the scene where he fucks everything up with his face. You know,
perfect.
That's great.
Because, dude, I kept seeing these memes on TikTok, right, where like you would have a clip of like a son or a daughter acting out, like maybe like flipping their plate, and then it cuts to a scene of the father from Invincible about to fuck him up, and I'm like, what is this? What does he do? You know, so I did look it up, but beyond that, no. I mean, I'm sure it's good. It isn't something that I would personally want to watch.
Sure,
yeah, that's totally fair.
I get that, and then that's a good DC Comics presents. That was you know, you got Alan Moore, you got Superman, Swamp Thing.
Yeah, that's an Alan Moore issue.
You know, it's it's good. It's probably one of my lesser favorite things he's done at DC. Like, it's good, but like when you're comparing it to like whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, or for the Man Who Has Everything, or the Swamp Thing run as a whole, I mean, you know, it's good. I like it, but you know.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. That is one that, you know, they put out that DC Alan Moore collection 10 years ago, and that's where I read it, you know, and I remember when it came up, I was like, oh, cool, Swamp Thing, because that's what I first read from Alan Moore, you know.
Yeah.
And then by the end, I was like, oh, all right, you know, it was fine, you know, but it's nothing like, you know, he was just so good that even when he didn't blow minds, it's like pretty much considered a classic, you know. But yeah, compared to his other like more iconic work, definitely 100% agree.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This was Justice League Detroit, I think, during this time frame.
Yeah, that's a weird time where people had strong opinions on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Jerry Conway wrote most of that, didn't he? Or was it Conway and DeMatteis? I'm trying to think. It's this is all off the top of my head. I'm trying to.
Come on, Joe. This is what happened in bourbon.
But yeah, I've been drinking a lot of bourbon, and I'm not looking this up. And I think it was a lot of Conway and maybe some DeMatteis. But yeah,
I like this. So in this batch, we've got Mike Zeck, and this is a classic Wolverine cap cover.
Yeah, I love that, and I read that annual not super long ago. It's good stuff.
Yes, we've also got John Byrne there on G.I. Joe.
Dude, I don't know why, but I fucking hate this cover. I don't even know why. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, it pisses me off, dude. Like just I don't know. It's so red. It's
the G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
It is too red. Yeah. I'll give you.
I don't understand why they did that in the background. It's a pretty cool illustration, but that pink and red gradient there in the back is a really weird choice, particularly with the guns shooting off from the front. Like I don't know why they decided to go that way.
Yeah, dude. And the blue super soaker, you know, it's like,
yeah, it's weird.
You know, it's weird. But I mean, John Byrne is a legend, you know, and he's apparently very mean. So good work, John.
Yeah. Which is weird because he's Canadian.
Dude, well, weird, I mean, by Twitter standards, I think he's a really calm and rational guy.
Oh yeah, no, by that. But I mean, like, there's also different kinds of Canadians. I feel like people act like all Canadians are nice, like French Canadians don't exist.
Dude, I wish that Amy was awake. Her family is French Canadian. That's so fucking funny. That's so fucking funny, dude.
I do like the Conan cover where it's the angle is from the inside of the mouth, and Conan is got they've done a fun expression on his face where he's like, "Shit, I don't want to go in there."
But yeah, his girl is mad casual.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh yeah, moving around."
Yeah, she's like, "Take care of this, please."
Yeah,
yeah. No, Conan's got that like Monday face, like, oh,
yeah. Here we go again.
The start of the week.
Always something trying to eat me.
Oh, you know what? I thought that his blade, that he had ripped one of the fish's teeth out and he was going to use it as a weapon, but he just has a blade underwater.
Well, he never leaves without his blade. I mean, that Conan always got a knife somewhere.
It's true.
Yeah.
Someone said French Canada, it's kind of the worst. You know, all these comments are just hating on Quebec guy, you know? Quebecois.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. No love here at all.
You know what I will say? Of every country that I ship comics to, Canada is by far my favorite. When I'm doing a Kickstarter and I see like 100 packages to ship international, I'm like, motherfuck. But then when I see Canada, I'm like, thank you, God, because they are so much cheaper to ship to. So I do, I hold Canadians in higher regard than the rest of the world for sure.
Yeah. So according to your standards, then Australians are just the worst people on earth.
Oh, when they back, I'm just so fucking pissed. I'm like, leave me alone, dude. Leave me alone.
True talk.
Oh, and now the Britain, people who live in England, they had the balls to do this Brexit shit. So now we have to like do this weird number. We have to have a number, like we have to register and shit to send things. It's like, get it together, Brexit.
They're always making things more complicated every fucking time.
Yeah, I'm about to go fuck some of their tea up,
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Second tea party.
There you go.
Have at it.
I like these are older. Yeah, this is fun. Again, these are comics where you kind of knew what you were going to get. Like you're going to see a monkey fucking up a guy.
Yeah.
A wolf fucking up a guy.
Covers are good. But yeah, you got that Thor. I feel like I should just have a running gag of like, is that a Jerry Conway Thor? Or like,
yeah.
But it might be. I don't remember that particular issue.
I don't think that is Conway, but
he wrote a bunch of Thor. But like, let me. You're
the brains of this time period. I'm
gonna look it up just for my own knowledge.
Yeah, okay.
Not werewolf, man.
It was a Roy Thomas. It's still early enough to be a Roy Thomas. And a Sal Buscema, that is a Gil Kane cover
on Master of Kung Fu.
Well, on Thor, that's a Gil Kane Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was joking.
Yeah. But it's good.
This is I mean, again, this Planet of the Apes cover, that's a cover that could again be made today,
It could. Yeah, the Monsters Unleashed would not work today, but Planet of the Apes could.
No, I mean the werewolf is just out of pocket. The abs, it's like this dude spends so much time working on his body,
Yeah.
Are you an Instagram influencer or are you a werewolf, dude?
Bro culture. That's exactly.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have to do that much to change the Master of Kung Fu cover to have it look like a modern color. That's more, I think, the coloring and a little bit on the art.
You're kind of borrowing.
You're right.
You're kind of borrowing the G.I. Joe color gradient background, though.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, you're right. It's just the lazy background colors. Yeah. Like the coloring on the Thor cover looks much, much better, even though it's a bit worn out you know?
Yeah.
As far as it's just a bit muted. The colors on Master of Kung Fu are brighter, but they're much, much simpler and just they clash very, very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. But yeah. Ooh.
Civil War II. We were talking about it. Issue 1.
Civil War II. That was right before Iron Man and Carol Danvers had that thumb war.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a shame because when you look at this cover and you see them kind of getting ready to lock up and you see the arms crossing, I'm remembering the Dynamite cover and thinking they should fight with their butts.
They should just fight with the butts. It's true. Yeah, they should have just went cheek to cheek.
It would have made a more interesting comic. Yeah, this is the title that that largely tanked a bunch of Marvel sales across a bunch of their books. Like statistically, you can now look at it, and this was the sales killer. This is the opposite of Civil War.
Yeah, because they didn't really have that much of a reason to be at odds. There was much more of a specific story reason than a reason that we could really debate about. It was more about a specific incident in the book than it was about a philosophical idea or a political idea.
Yeah, no, exactly. The whole, I mean, you know, and she had this Inhuman that could see the future. You think that Inhuman could have told her that the sales were going to tank?
Yeah, you know, I mean, win the lottery with that shit. Come on, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but this was the Bat Penis comic, wasn't it?
That issue 1?
Yes.
Because then that's the one with the you know, the Bat Wang where the little Batman left the manor, if you will.
Yeah.
But
it was pretty little too. It was not impressive.
Here's the thing.
Wait. Let's be real though. It was soft, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's, in fairness, you're right. He's in a dark, gloomy, damp cave. I mean, come on, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I'm just glad that they finally confirmed that Batman's Jewish.
That's true. Yes.
It's like this. Like, if we're talking about his soft penis, you know, sometimes my shit just disappears. You know, sometimes I'm just hanging out and my shit is gone. Okay. So I sympathize with him in that situation, you know.
It's tough to be on all the time, and I mean, you're coming back from a day of beating people up in Gotham, and you're tired. And that leather costume's probably a little sweaty and smelly, and there's bats flying around, and you got an old butler with a plate of cheese waiting for you. I mean, what do you expect is going to happen?
Exactly. That's 100% right.
I mean, speaking of someone who probably has similar problems, Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, imagine, dude. Yeah, he is definitely not packing in any way, you know.
Yep. He's leaning forward though.
That's why that saber's just so prominent. He's overcompensating.
That's true. Yeah, he waves it around.
No, absolutely. But that's what was it? This is the first. Have they relaunched Darth Vader already? Like, I know Gillen was on it.
They have. It has relaunched. Yes.
Sure.
This was number one. This is number ones across the board. I mean, this is number one Black Cat. She's doing jazz hands while posing between some jewelry.
You know, I feel like all these covers here are not bad. All of them have a strength to them. Like even the Civil War, you know, the pose of the central characters is corny, but in the background, the kind of like ascension vibe where he's going up the beam. I can't really see who it is. But that's kind of sick, you know. And you know, all these are in their own way sick. I hate that her costume has hair on the calves, but that's a costume criticism, you know.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Sam's about to punch himself in the face there, but he looks like he's gonna clock himself in the face.
Well, he's angry because he's Captain America. So he's trying to represent half of America by punching himself.
And Spider-Man looks like he's making a lewd gesture with his hand there. That if only his tongue could come out would be.
Oh, he does, doesn't he, dude?
It looked like, ooh, that's a rough one.
Yeah, he's making some suggestions. So yeah.
He sure is.
The Black Cat sneaking around. Somebody put this, and this is always what I think of when I see this costume is like crawling around on the rooftops and everything else. That costume's gonna be filthy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's like leaves in the fur all crunched up. It's ticks. Yeah. Not good.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really like that.
Big old crusty. Yeah.
I like that whole like Michelini era of like Black Cat when she was like hooking up with Flash Thompson to piss off Peter and that stuff. Like that was great.
Yeah.
And then
wasn't that era she was just kind of trying to fuck her way through all of Peter's friends.
Yeah, but like that was cool. And then she's just like still around.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like I don't know that many people who are like, dude, I am all in on Black Cat.
Yeah. Well, maybe now.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe now. Maybe now that's what's going on. Yeah, lots of Marvel fanfare, Marvel Age, Marvel Saga. This must have been the week when Marvel was just putting out things with itself in the name.
Wow, and there's North Star surrounded by people he's not interested in.
Yeah, that's probably true. This Marvel Age was giving us a preview of Epic's Steel Grip Starkey, which Marvel I remember was sending out promo cards and things to store. They really were trying to get Steel Grip Starkey to go, and it did not.
I mean, the name, dude.
Yeah, Steel Grip Starkey.
I love that they slap Wolverine on there too. Like, come on, we got to get the kids to buy it. Put a Wolverine on there. Let's move.
Well, I mean, because you like some of the stuff on here, but we're leading with Steel Grip Starkey, Stan Soapbox, a look at 86 annuals, Fred Himbeck, and and more. And some editor was looking at this like, fuck, we got to put Wolverine on this.
Yeah. My favorite is still that Ecstatics issue he's in, where that first page, or it might have been on the cover, where he just goes like, "I'm just here to boost sales."
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of my favorite bits. I love that run so much. That is such a fun run with Peter Milligan and the Allreds. Great stuff.
Yep.
I might expose a lack of knowledge here. Who is the figure skater on the cover of Marvel Fanfare here?
That's North Star.
Okay. The costume is horrendous,
It's horrendous, but like I also don't fault you because North Star usually doesn't look like the face doesn't always look like that. He looks a little too. He looks like Namor, kind of.
Dude, I was just thinking that he looks like Namor, and he's wearing like what you would wear under the Power Rangers costume.
Yeah. No, North Star. For being one of the first out gay superheroes at Marvel, has hideous fashion sense.
Yeah. Well, he was a lot like Namor though, except instead of trying to fuck Sue, he wanted Johnny.
Yeah, who doesn't want Johnny?
Well, everybody wants Johnny. Yeah.
I mean, come on, like
almost all. That's right. Most of the original, maybe all. There was all some kind of Canadian flag theme going on. In some level, somewhere in the costume. I think that was what the intention was. But as artists came in and tried to do more, it seemed to get weird at some point. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. I don't know. We're heading toward the end here anyway. So,
like for the stream or life.
Both. Yeah.
We're trucking along closer to the end, folks.
Dude, you've been existential tonight, man.
Yeah.
That's the third reference to everything ending. Well,
you kind of get at that. I mean, after this week of comics, you kind of get there.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it. I think about it all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's constant for me, man. Constant.
Well, death will come for us all.
Yeah,
I remember. I saw this video. It was on a site that I shouldn't frequent that I do, called World Star Hip Hop, right? I
was expecting you to say something different, but okay.
Usually there's like, fights, which I enjoy watching. There's, some twerking action, which I would never click on, okay? But what I clicked on was this video that says, Neil deGrasse Tyson gives the perfect answer to what happens to us at your death. And this fucking dork, right? In the video, talks about how beautiful it is that we will live after death because we return to nature. Hey man, everyone fucking knows that. Basic answer. But what happens to me? Okay, I'm scared. I'm scared, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I am terrified. It's I'm not looking forward to it, and no, but yeah,
you'll probably be okay. I'm looking forward to it. I say let's
yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, I talked to what was it? I have some older relatives. I'll give them a call. My great aunt Rosalie out in Seattle, who I'm hoping to see if I can make it out to Emerald City, which I'm planning on doing, in part so I could see her. She's 95 years old, but when I talk to her on the phone, it's a lot of that kind of stuff where, I'm just like, oh, I'm coming out soon. I'll go see you. And she'll just be like, well, if I'm still here, sure.
Dude, I love when old people do that. My Aunt Bella used to do that. My dad would call her and he'd say, okay, see you soon. And she'd say, maybe,
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
But yeah, that's how she is, and I get it. She's 95. I'm hoping she at least makes it to the next time I come out there. But
I do want you to come out for Emerald City Comic Con. We got to get Pat. You should come out to Seattle's Comic Con this year.
When is that?
December.
Oh yeah. I may. It's one of those. It's one of the two major ones. That and C2E2 are the major ones that I've never been to. But I would consider it. It's just a matter of, the flight out there, and it's just so much easier for artists to go and sell commissions. Working around the books, but I do one day want to go for sure.
It'll be fun. We're going to, so I think Joe and I have the plan here. So we'll do the Friday show. We'll do the live stream, but we'll rent it's open. I can get a private room at El Gaucho. We'll bring some people in, get Sean. I think he's coming out, fly up Jeff, and Joe, you come out. Pat, you come out. We'll do a live show. It'll be great. We'll be drunk in live time. It'll be filming. It'll be wonderful.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll have some special guests. It'll be wonderful.
Yeah, I think
we'll look at all the Dynamite butt covers.
Yes, we'll drink our way through that restaurant. So
it'll be good. And then maybe we could call in Nick from Dynamite, and he could narrate for us.
Oh, that would be great. See, this is exactly what we'll do. We'll have some fun. Yeah, and I'll camera on. Everybody will see what I look like, which is no big treat. But anyway, here's Colossus fighting Nimrod, which was way more exciting back then than whatever's happening now.
I'll check it out. Yeah, and we have Hulk over here, just straight up got a guy in him.
Yeah, he's merging there with Vision. Yeah, he's inside of him. Just great, and Luke Cage is not in a good stable footing position.
No, that's you don't want to put yourself in that position.
No. Those kind of things remind me of those videos where someone's recording themselves like building jumping. It gives me fucking anxiety, dude.
Oh my god, yeah. Is that issue of Avengers? Are we in Under Siege around then? Is that like right before Under Siege?
I think this was before. As I recall, they were kind of testing them out a little bit because Paladin's in there.
That's got to be like right before Under Siege.
Yeah, because Paladin wasn't around for Under Siege.
Yeah.
But this was the new Yellow Jacket. This was Screaming Mimi before, they rebranded her. I don't know why. I mean, that costume, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, no. And then and that X-Men cover is a Colossus fighting that guy that we just want some fucking payoff from Hickman's X-Men.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we went through a bunch of covers. We'll leave you with one more creepy thing. Here's Superman putting Robin to bed. So that's good. Now he's just helping him out, but it's this line: "Now that I've bathed you, son, you're going to be all right."
And it looks like Robin's shorts have been taken off and are just on top of his dick instead of actually covering it.
That's exactly what's happened. I mean, even Superman's logo, his shield, like even the logo wants to get the fuck off there.
It's a skew. Yeah, he's been doing something.
The shield knows what he's done. He wants out of there. But
Oh my God, dude.
Pat, as we're up, so it was great that you came on and hung out with us tonight.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I love the first appearance, and again, I was pleased that the comments, were pretty nice. Sometimes YouTube can get rough, especially when I feel like I can be a pretty opinionated guy sometimes, and people love to just start arguments. There was one person, I forgot who it was, but there was one person who thought I started this whole campaign of harassment against the guy, the astronaut who wore the motorcycle shirt, when I really was like feeling bad that I made one negative comment about this dude like 5 years ago and deleted it the next day. And I was like, no, I didn't start a whole fucking harassment campaign. I had a dumb take. That's it,
against the astronaut with a motorcycle jacket. Who?
It was it was this guy who it was this first time that was a female astronaut doing some sciencey shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't really give a fuck. So this guy was the other astronaut, and he wore this shirt that was pretty much like a Zenoscope cover, and it was like airbrushed to have an image of like a hot woman. And like I thought, like I was in this place where I didn't think anyone gave a fuck what I had to say, So I had to tweet like, "Oh, that's pretty dumb to do," thinking like I wouldn't have worn that shirt, because you're about to get harassed. But then I didn't want to be part of him getting roasted, so I fucking deleted it. And then the next day, this dude's like on TV crying, saying it's like his wife's favorite shirt. And at that point, my take becomes, leave this fucking dude alone, he didn't mean anything.
That is a bizarre story.
He didn't mean anything by it, dude,
Yeah.
That dude, I'm fully on his side. Rock your shirt. I'll support you wherever you want, dude.
How long ago was this?
Oh, it was years and years and years
ago. Oh, okay. So like I was saying, we've evolved way past this now.
Oh, but these were comments in your last video that I was on because I was talking about it, and someone just misunderstood what I was saying.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It just drastically misunderstood. Like, I've never launched a harassment campaign against anyone. Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, come on, guys. There's more current things to talk about. The writer of Spider-Man's apparently a Nazi today. Tomorrow, but today he is.
Still a Nazi. Still a Nazi.
Oh, still. Okay. Yeah. Tomorrow will be something else. It's great.
I will say this about that situation. It sucks how comics creators feel that they can't stand up for one another, Like, the truth is, in the comedy scene, if a comic goes after another comic, that comic is fucking blacklisted. Where in the comic book scene, it's fucking celebrated, dude. And it's like, I remember I did an interview with a friend. I was trying to do this show, and it was going to be this YouTube show, and I put a lot of production efforts into it, but I realized that some of the topics that came up were things that we couldn't talk about because there was this fear that we were going to be like fucking railroaded. And I was like, nah, I'm not interested in doing this kind of shit. I don't want to, if I'm being told to not say this, to not say Nick Spencer is obviously fucking not a Nazi. Everyone knows that. If I say that and I'm in trouble, fuck it. I don't want to do it because I don't want to play part of this play that we're putting on that we have to just back up every ridiculous claim. Because I don't. I don't, and I don't feel the need to have to talk about these things that they are non-issues. Obviously he's not. Obviously he's fucking not,
Yeah. No, it's stupid, but anyway, there you go. Pat, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Joe, thank you for joining as well. I guess we'll see you in the morning is what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If you want to hit like, it does something, I guess. I'm supposed to say that, but I always feel like a douche whenever I say that. It's just hit like for reasons. But thank you, everybody, for coming. And Pat, let's do this again real soon.
I'm with it, man. Yeah, let's do it.